No, the horror. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. I'm going to do a movie chat today with the woke centrist and Chris James here, of course. And we're talking about Apocalypse Now, the Francis Ford Coppola film, which is basically Heart of Darkness applied to the Vietnam War, which um, and Dusty and Parker and I recently talked about Heart of Darkness, so I thought this was pretty apt. And yeah, I just think this is like the fucking best anti-war movie ever. It's like so fucking dark and critical of America's role in the Vietnam War, and I just think it does a brilliant job of like basically looking at the colonialism of America in the Vietnam War. Like we got to civilize these gooks and that kind of shit, and how like it even gets kind of satirical at times, like with Robert Duvall's character. That's why I put a quote from him in the title of this. I love the smell of napalm in the morning, because when he says that line, that's just so fucked up. And especially because it's one of the most chilling parts of the movie when he fucking napalms a village so they can go surfing. And it's just it's so interesting because it really gets into like how the war drives people insane, and how um and how Michael Sheen's character, the main character, clearly has fucking PTSD, and just all these fucked up aspects, and how Marlon Brando's character, Colonel Kurtz, starts a cult, and then hey Molly, and then at the end of the film they juxtapose uh, Michael or Martin Sheen's character, sorry, with him killing Colonel Kurtz, with the villagers killing a cow for them to eat. So it's like basically showing how Kurtz becomes like the sacrificial lamb for the Vietnam War. And just I also thought another interesting part was the part where they're staying with the French soldiers who have abandoned the war, and I noticed that even in their anti-war stance, they had like a little bit of hypocritical French colonialism from when France controlled Vietnam. So yeah, I just thought like those were all of the main issues that I noticed in the movie that I wanted to discuss with you guys. So as usual, let's start off with what were you guys' thoughts about the movie in general?
Should
Um,
I go first?
yeah, go ahead, dude.
Sure.
Um, there were a lot of instances of people doing fake Tai Chi all over the place. I don't know
Oh,
what that was all about.
yeah, I didn't even
Um,
remember that. Yeah.
I was like, why is this guy doing like Tai Chi, Kung Fu, whatever in the beginning of the movie? And then we see it throughout the movie, a
Yeah.
couple different characters. Man, is this movie dark? Uh,
Yeah.
it is dark. It's hard to watch at some times. I know they killed like a real cow in there. I was trying to check the internet to see what the justification for that. Apparently, those are real villagers, and that's what they do. Um, so, in order for Coppola to be allowed to film with them, he had to barter with that village, and he gave them a bunch of livestock because that's what they asked for. So he was like, okay, I can give you livestock if you let us film here. So he gave them a couple cows and some chickens and some things.
Oh wow, I didn't
So
know that.
yeah, so the cow killing scene, it wasn't really at the direction of Coppola. He was just filming the tribe doing their thing.
Wow.
Um, he never asked them to do that. That's just what they do when they kill the cows and the animals and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
So, so, um, so yeah, there's so much disturbing things. One of the things that was really disturbing is during their travels up the river, like none of these regiments have any commanding officers. Uh, they're just kind of, it's anarchy. It's it's nuts. Like they're going from area to area, and he keeps asking, "Well, who's your commanding officer?" There's none
Yeah.
to be seen. It's barbaric, you know.
Yeah.
They're going through these places. They're treating these people with disdain. Um, you know, shooting them up for
Yeah.
like almost no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
reminds me of a few other parts in relation to like how it makes them barbaric too. Like that time when they're going down the river on the boat and they come across this boat with just like a family of villagers and they basically just end up shooting all of them over nothing and they had nothing. They had like rice and a puppy. And then there's that other part where there's this basically USO show where they have Playboy Playmates come, and then the security that's with them has to end up evacuating really quickly because the soldiers storm the stage, and they're clearly worried about them raping those women. Like, holy fuck!
yeah, and then they go to the rape camp
Yeah,
later on. It's
yeah,
like Jesus Christ,
yeah.
this
Like
is crazy.
it literally made them into prostitutes. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty hard. Like there's a lot of boat stuff in this movie,
yeah.
and I think one of my favorite parts is like when the black dude like grenaded some guy yelling. He
Oh yeah,
just he just like did it so nonchalantly, like it's everyday routine thing, and it was just chaos.
yeah, man.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
I think my favorite part was that whole section with Robert Duvall because it like
Oh, the
showed
surfing.
because he's like such a fucking caricature.
Yeah, he's just walking around the place, strutting, bombs blowing up all around him. He's basically ignoring all that shit, like nothing's going on. He's like commanding his underlings to go surf while there's these mortars just blowing the fuck up in the ocean. It's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. You
Please,
guys
don't
are
fail,
crazy.
please.
Yeah, it's super. I think you hit the nail on the head with Dark, man. I mean, I remember watching it for the first time in high school, and I thought I was just going to see like some helicopter kind of army, similar to kind of platoon type of a movie. Because I obviously watched it later on, not 1979, and yeah, definitely a dark film. Um, I think what else is interesting is like the making of this movie and the headaches that they went through to even get it filmed. I think Sheen suffered from a heart attack and they had to put it on hold for a while. And didn't like
Oh,
Francis Ford Coppola try to commit suicide somewhere in that mix as well?
oh, I didn't know
I'm
that.
not sure. I did try to read up on some of the controversies of this film. I
Hmm.
do know they use real dead bodies.
Oh, I didn't know
They
that.
Oh
pay,
wow,
yeah. So they paid a local, and they provided cadavers, and it was later found out that
Jeez.
the person that provided that was a grave robber who
holy
had
fuck!
been. But yeah, some of the dead bodies you see littered throughout the film are
Yeah.
real dead bodies,
Wow,
Wow. I didn't know
wow.
which is
that.
kind of
That's crazy.
crazy. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you don't really hear. That's kind of messed up, putting like dead bodies on display, like real dead bodies on display in a
Yeah.
film.
Yeah,
It seems a little, I don't know, disrespectful,
heavy.
to
Yeah,
be honest.
Yeah.
yeah. You know,
I'm not
another.
saying like disrespectful because of how they're treating those bodies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, another aspect of this that I noticed that I was thinking about was, remember when we did that movie chat, Dusty, on Mixed Mental Arts about this film is not yet rated, and I think it was on that documentary that they were talking about when how military films are made and how they always literally have a military advisor there, like making editing suggestions and shit. I was like, I bet that didn't fucking happen with this movie, man. I can't imagine
No.
actual military approving like so many things that happened in this movie.
Oh yeah. No.
That's funny too, because I wonder how they were able to acquire the hardware. Because we do see that there were tanks and helicopters in the film, as well as like the boats. So I wonder how they got to use these things without triggering like the U.S. Military industrial complex. Because this movie does not give like the military good luck. It
No.
definitely makes them look pretty bad. So I don't know how they were able to acquire all that, unless they got them from other countries that just didn't care. But wow, yeah, I'm pretty sure they were not happy about this film coming out. It didn't it win Academy Awards, this movie?
I'm gonna look that up because I think I heard that it did, but I'm really not sure.
If not,
Yeah, I think Duvall got nominated for supporting actor. I don't know if he won it or not.
or did Brando get anything for performance?
I don't know.
That was definitely a fucking brilliant performance, man. I'm pretty sure I've only seen him in the Godfather movies and in this. And I mean, like he plays such different characters in both movies that it really, really shows how much of a fucking great actor he was.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he got paid the good money.
Yeah.
It was nominated. It's in here that it was nominated for 8 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best
Oh
Supporting
wow.
Actor.
Yeah,
These are just nominations. So I'm just reading down to see if what it actually won.
21 wins, 32 nominations.
Okay.
Wow. Was he for all different awards or just the Oscars?
Well, it said one of them that it was just listed. I might have to go back to that page, but I'm on the IMDb page here, and I think one of them that it was the Palme d'Or. You know that what's that festival called again? You know, the indie film festival, Sundance.
Cannes? Sundance.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. So, oh yeah, so these are the Oscars. So it got nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Best Director, Best Writing Screenplay based on material from another medium, Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, and Best Film Editing. And it won Best Cinematography and Best Sound. Okay. And then
That's
the
crazy,
Golden...
'cause it was like when it first came out at Cannes. I was reading somewhere they hadn't even finished the film. They had,
Oh really?
yeah, because there's an interview with they interview, sorry, hold on, what's his fucking name? Sheen.
Well, did you watch the Redux or like the original?
No, I haven't seen. I was gonna ask you guys if you'd seen the Redux.
I think
Yeah,
like,
that's the Redux is a really long one.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
that must be the one that you and I watched, Dusty. If you also watched it on that streaming website that I did, because I watched the one that was 3 hours and 15 minutes long.
Yeah, that one is the Redux with the extra scenes in it.
Okay. I thought I might have recognized scenes that I hadn't seen before. Maybe I did, because when it was on Netflix like a year or so ago, but it's not on there anymore. When I watched it when it was on Netflix, and I seem to remember watching it this time, noticing scenes that I thought I might have not... I thought I maybe just didn't remember them from the original movie, but maybe they weren't there in the first place.
And what's in the Netflix? Didn't they edit some of the scenes in that?
Did they?
I thought I heard that.
I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they like took out some of the scenes, because, like, for example, I don't remember, and maybe this was in there again, and I just forgot about it. But I don't remember. I didn't remember, for example, the scene where the Martin Sheen and his soldiers they find the place where the Playboy Playmates are at again, and they've literally become prostitutes, and you see how fucking like emotionally dead inside they are too, and and like how no one treats them as people, and the guys are like, Can you dress up like this other playmate here?
Yeah, super creepy as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I think that was one of the additional scenes that was cut out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bunch of edits, but I remember seeing an interview with Sheen, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not even finished the film yet," and this was at when they were debuting it back at Gaines Festival. So it's
Wow.
crazy that it got so many. Well, going back to all the nominations with Oscars and stuff like that, it's crazy that it got finished, all that stuff, and even got made to begin with. Like I said, there was a bunch of, I think, things that went down during production that I think it got halted, if I'm not mistaken. I remember the problem is I did like a book report, not a book report, sorry, like a kind of like a project on it in high school for my social media or for my media class or whatever at the time. And so I knew all these kind of tidbits, and some of them have kind of gone away over time. But I remember th- I think they stopped production at some point for some reason. Either uh yeah, but it's crazy that it got made and they got all these nominations. And um crazy the amount of like huge name stars in it. I mean, Brando, obviously, you got Sheen. Dennis Hopper is shows up as the photographer on the
Yeah.
island. Which, how did he get there? you know, um, who else?
Yeah.
I think even like Harrison Ford makes an appearance. If I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
mistaken.
he's at the beginning and he
Yeah, that's right.
sends Martin Sheen's character on the mission.
That's right. So, um, yeah, it's just crazy the cast and yeah.
I'm
Did you know
looking.
Martin Sheen was not the first pick?
He wasn't?
Um,
Yeah.
no, I know for sure Clint Eastwood was offered. He turned it down because he didn't want to spend 3 weeks in the jungle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, it says it.
Um,
I'm looking up the Wikipedia page here, and it says it was filmed in the Philippines, and it went way over budget and way over schedule.
Apparently,
yeah.
Sheen was like on coke the whole entire time they were filming it too.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, yep. That's why he ended up having a heart attack. Uh,
Oh, I didn't know that's what it was from.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Apparently, a bunch of the cast and crew were fucked up at the time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. It
Yeah.
says originally Harvey Keitel played Captain Willard, and Coppola was unhappy with his performance, so he must have gotten replaced by Martin Sheen then.
Hmm.
So maybe he was like the third
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot to
Yeah, he wasn't even the first. He was like way down the line.
Oh, wow.
I know it was Keitel. It was offered to um, Clint Eastwood and some other like big name stars as well. Turned it down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Steve McQueen was the first choice.
Oh,
really.
Yeah, he turned it down because he didn't want to go to the jungle, and then he was asking for a lot of money. Al
holy
Pacino
shit.
was also offered the role.
Oh, wow.
So
Look at
yeah,
listen
and
to this. By June 1977, Coppola had offered his car, house, and the Godfather profits as security to finish the film. Before that, it said the budget had doubled to over 25 million, and Coppola's loan from United Artists to fund the overruns had been extended to over 10 million. UA took out a $15 million life insurance policy for Coppola. After Star Wars became a gigantic hit, Coppola sent a telegram to George Lucas asking for money. The release date was pushed back to spring 1978. And then we know it actually just got extended to 79 too.
mhm. Also, Brando was not the first choice either.
Oh no?
Oh,
Um, yeah, because they were also thinking of Jack Nicholson, Robert Redford, or James Caan.
Okay.
And they were approached to play either Willard or Kurtz.
Oh,
Tommy Lee Jones, Nick Nolte, and Keith Carradine were also approached for Willard. So a lot of people were approached for this role before they settled on Martin Sheen. But
wow.
what impressed them about Martin Sheen was his screen test in The Godfather. So after he looked over that They went ahead and switched, because I know Cartel was cast, but I think they had a falling out. I think they had like some type of disagreement about something, so that's why Cartel left or Keitel left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, and Gene Hackman originally was going to play Kilgore.
Oh, really?
Forgot about that. Yeah.
He would have been interesting as him.
Yeah, he kind of, I guess, kind of fits that role a little bit, but I think Robert Duvall just nailed it.
Yeah, for fucking sure, man. All of the actors still did incredible jobs.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really, yeah, that cast is just a good cast. And I think since he built his name up, Coppola built his name up with the Godfather movies. That's why he was able to reach out to such big names at the time. So, yeah, that's why he was able to get big names, because he had the Godfather under his belt. So,
Oh, it was I'm looking at an article now. It says originally George Lucas was supposed to direct it.
yes, that's right. He was going to direct it, but then Coppola just did it himself.
Yeah, Lucas dropped out because the project was taking too long because it languished in development for too long.
hmm So yeah, there's it's interesting, but yeah. And then there's the G man. That was one of my favorite characters in the
Yeah,
beginning. The
yeah,
guy that's just like terminate with extreme prejudice. Like everybody's in like their army uniforms, and then you just see this dude with like a button-up shirt and tie.
yeah. And that beginning part of the movie too, that whole beginning part where it starts with that that song by the Doors, and the like you see a village getting bombed, and you see like how fucking completely dysfunctional Martin Sheen's character is when he's not in war. He's like all drunk and like taking his clothes off and like pissing himself and shit like that, and they have to force him to take a shower and stuff like that, and they like
Yeah.
literally have to force him to take that mission even though he doesn't want to, and they can tell he has like something like PTSD, but they're like, fuck it, you need to do your mission, bro.
Well, when they showed up, he thought he was going to be court-martialed. It's like, oh, what's the charges? So we know he kind of is a fucked up person. But he was picked apparently because he assassinated somebody else. So that's probably why he was so fucked up to begin with.
Yeah.
Did you did you examine any of the parallels between the book and the movie?
I didn't like examine them, but I did notice a lot of them for sure. Like they even have the characters, even some of the characters even have the same names, like Willard and Kurtz, and like
Mm-hmm.
the most of it takes place on the boat, like Heart of Darkness does, and like Heart of Darkness, it takes most of the movie for them to actually get to Kurtz, and he's gone insane and started a cult, and he ends up dying, and his dying words are the horror, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, and he had his dead, like, I guess instead of heads on pikes, he just had dead bodies and people strung up everywhere. The boat, the helmsman dies in pretty much the same way, like almost the same way, except for some reason the helmsman tries to kill Willard.
Yeah,
um, and they get attacked just like in the book, where it gets all foggy, and then like arrows and stuff and spears start being chucked at them. And yeah, it's there's a lot of similarities, and in the book there's a lot of hype for Kurtz, and there's a lot of hype for Kurtz in this movie as well, because throughout the journey he keeps reading Kurt's dossier,
yeah,
and he's like increasingly convinced that this has to be a great man of some sort. Um, but there's like the oddity that he went into special forces at like a late age in life. Um, but yeah, there are a lot of parallels. I liked this version of that story
Yeah,
more than the original story.
yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah,
even though
I
it
think
did take me longer to get through it.
I still like the original Heart of Darkness novella more, but like we were talking about before when we were discussing it, I think part of it is that I kind of like appreciate prose for the sake of prose more than you. I think that might be the major thing, really, because that's definitely the major aspect of it that appeals to me because like it basically does follow all of the sort of same themes as Heart of Darkness does, but it also like applies colonialism to war, and it shows like the horror of war more so than the horror of colonialism.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest points of colonialism in the movie is when he meets with the French people,
Yeah,
because they're like basically hardcore colonialists and they don't want to leave their land, but they also think that the war is foolish and that they're not going to get anything because they've already been there and they know what's going to happen. And he's like super upset that the French have lost all these wars and he's trying to hold on to this land as a stance against the loserness of France. It's like he can't believe we're losers, so we gotta hold on to this land and keep it for as long as we can. And I
yeah.
guess he gets busy with the daughter. Is that his daughter or something?
Yeah, I think that's his daughter.
Yeah. And I kind of have the feeling like he already knew his daughter was going to get busy with him or something. Like he was
Yeah,
in the know.
it does kind of seem that way. That was
Yeah.
that was like a pretty cool scene. She's like, "Hey, let's smoke some opium and fuck." She's like, "Cool, let's do it."
Well, it's better than like the weird, Playboy bunny scenes.
Yeah, that was
Those
fucking
were
creepy.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the only one that wasn't disturbing was when like one of the bunnies is in one of those buildings and I think it was like a body falls out of like a fridge or something or a box and instead of like continuing to want to screw the bunny, he tries to comfort her
Oh
and
yeah,
he kind of realizes that it's a fucking horrific situation there.
They're in.
yeah,
And then there's
yeah,
the guy that didn't get any, and he dies shortly later.
yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's man. There's so many interesting aspects of this movie. Like, I was just reading another thing in this article that I didn't know that said um, Marlon Brando showed up on location in the Philippines weighing in at over 300 pounds. So
What?
this was the point when he had gotten fat. They filmed it so well that I thought this was before he got so fat. So all of his costumes had to be scrapped because Coppola expected the actor to show up as an astute and fit Green Beret soldier. This forced Coppola to have to come up with a way to shoot around Brando's weight. So he and cinematographer Vittorio Storaro thought of shooting him in shadows and silhouettes to make his character seem more mysterious. Holy shit! I thought that was a brilliant aspect of the parts with Marlon Brando, but I didn't realize that's why they did it. That's so hilarious.
Well, there are parts of the movie where you could see him walking around, and
Yeah,
maybe it's the Redux version. I don't know, but we see it. Maybe he lost weight, so they were able to film those scenes. But
maybe.
he didn't look like super fat. He was a little bit like overweight,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. He
but
didn't look like he was over 300 pounds.
no, he didn't look that fat. But maybe he was fatter, like when they shot him in the shadows. Maybe that's when it happened.
Mhm.
I guess they do say that he's basically a badass, right? Because he kills the guy in the boat and beheads him
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and takes the
Yeah.
head back. Like
His
he
fucking
did it himself.
his fucking philosophy that he's talking to Martin Sheen's character about too. He's like, it's something like you have to be willing to kill without any remorse whatsoever, because if you don't embrace brutality for the sake of brutality, then it will defeat you. I'm like, holy fuck, that's such a fucking psychopathic philosophy. Fuck.
But it's true, right? Because when he says it will defeat you, I think he's talking about like mental sanity. Like, if you can't do it with that specific philosophy in mind, then you will break psychologically. I think that's what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. But
And
then
that's
it's
when he
ironic
said,
too,
like, the type of.
coming from a character who has psychologically broken too, but still sees the reason some people still see him as brilliant is that he still has he does make good points sometimes. It's almost like Thanos, right? Like you can almost understand his logic even though he wants to kill half the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's not like a classic crazy person. Um, we can see that he has some type of principle and philosophy. It looks like when Willard gets in there, he can't see a method to his madness, but he then explains what's going on when he says he needs certain, like the people around him that have this specific philosophy. I don't know. It doesn't really get into why there's so many dead people lying around. But
I assume that
There was
he
the
killed
aftermath
them.
of the. Yeah.
I assume that he killed them because like Dennis Hopper's character was talking about how, he goes crazy, and wasn't he saying something like, he goes crazy and kills someone every once in a while. But he
yeah,
was
but Dennis Hopper's crazy himself. It seems like
that's
I know he's. I was like, he's like interrupting. Like, okay, Kurtz is reading poetry and to everybody around, and he's being like a loud dumbass, and then Kurtz like throws something at him. It's like, yeah, that's fucking justified. You're like you're rambling and you're not making any sense.
Yeah.
I can understand why Kurtz would throw whatever to shut you the hell up. Because he wasn't really making any sense when he was talking to Willard. I was like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah. He's definitely at least almost as insane as Kurtz, if not equally so.
Well, I think it's just Kurtz is able to rationalize his insanity.
Yeah.
And we get to see those rationalizations. Yeah, Dennis Hopper just seems like a drugged out hippie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even like his crew, the surfer dude went kind of nuts, right?
Yeah,
he kind of
totally nuts and embraced the cult, basically.
Yeah, so he fit right in. Um, I guess the Cajun guy was kind of sane, but he wasn't because we saw how fucked up he was with like the prostitutes. But yeah, his whole crew was like fucked up in some way.
Yeah,
except well, even like the captain. I was like, really? Are you really insistent on having to search these people? Like, come on, you're on a fucking mission. Do your mission.
Yeah,
and then
after his boat, and the boat captain's like, no, we got to do it. Investigate that shit. Did you see that? And then the guy who's on the 60 caliber, he just like gets all jumpy and like fucking freaks out, and then they all just join in on fucking massacring all of them. And then there's
and he's like, oh, she's still alive. Let's bring her on the boat.
And then Willard just shoots her. I told you not to stop the boat. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That was a fucked up part.
He's basically telling him that it's his fault that they're all dead.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And he should have just followed what he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's brutal. It's debatable whether he did the right thing there, because I don't know where they would have taken her. Because he's on a mission. I think they would have had to backtrack to drop her off or whatever.
And that reminds me too, like the narration that Martin Sheen's character Willard does, and like especially when he's talking about Colonel Kurtz, but when he's just talking about the war too, and how his eyes are completely fucking open about it. He has some such brilliant lines too. He's like, after that incident with the boat, he says something like, we'll massacre an entire village and then throw them a band-aid. It's like that earlier part in the film with Robert Duvall where they go in and massacre that entire village, and then they go in there and the people are on the loudspeakers saying, "We are here to help you." And then Robert Duvall's character brings this injured guy his canteen. "I'm giving you my canteen. Let's get this guy patched up. We're gonna be all noble now and heal them after massacring their entire village."
Yeah. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. I'm going to go run up and down the building. So you're going to see me drop in and out because of spotty internet. So hopefully it won't get dropped out too bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen the documentary on it?
No, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, apparently there's I haven't seen it either, but apparently there's a really good documentary on, like how they made the film and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds interesting based on what I've been hearing that we've been looking up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, I was just reading. Coppola had different alternate and varied endings, which I didn't know about. It's crazy. There's so much about this movie that I didn't that I didn't know about.
Yeah, me too.
Like Dusty was saying earlier about those were actual real bodies. Yeah.
So what
apparently there is a documentary on the making of the movie. So I probably want to watch this someday.
Yeah, me too. Do you guys know what it's called? Actually, I'm going to look it up here.
I just had it up here. Because I remember people loving the shit out of that too.
Okay.
What the hell?
Oh, Heart of Darkness: A Filmmaker's Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it came out in 1991, and it was about the production.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, so do I. I was just reading I'm on the Wikipedia page, and it was talking about and I remember somebody else telling me, "Hey, you should watch the documentary on it." And I never got around to watching it. So I was just curious if you guys had seen it at all, but apparently it's really good.
Maybe we should talk about that sometime soon.
Yeah, add it to the chat, the movie chat list.
Yeah. That sound good to you, Dusty? If you're still there.
Yeah, I'd be game for that.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna add that documentary to my list of movies to watch.
So do you think this changed the or not just Americans, but people's perspective on how they viewed the Vietnam War after this came out? Or
I don't know, because I don't really know how the culture reacted to it. But I mean, obviously there was, like, during the 60s, there were lots of anti-Vietnam War protests, and it seems like, based on documentaries I've watched, like that Ken Burns documentary, that like there were a lot of people who were against the Vietnam War. So maybe this is a reflection of the culture at the time, and maybe that's part of why it took so long to get made, because it's such an anti-establishment concept, because it's such an anti-war film.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, because I think one of the main reasons we pulled out of Vietnam is because the public was not on the side. They soured on the whole war. And the reason they soured on the war is because we had constant news coverage of the war. And when I mean constant news coverage, we're talking about like people on the ground and seeing it on TV and stuff. Like the wars we have today that are ongoing, when do you actually see any coverage of it?
Yeah.
Not a mainstream.
Yeah, I forgot that aspect. I remember hearing that now, that the Vietnam War was the first like widely televised war where you saw the public saw some of the shit that was going on.
Yeah, so I know like we soured on it, which is why immediately after you see like some pretty critical movies of it. Because Platoon is pretty critical of the war, right? They don't really show it in
Yeah.
a good light.
Yeah.
And I don't think most Vietnam movies show it in a good light. I guess
No.
there's more recent ones like We Were Soldiers, but that's Mel Gibson and he's kind of a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, even the one with Robin Williams. What is it? Good Morning
Good Morning
Oh, even the
Vietnam.
Stanley Kubrick one, right? The Stanley Kubrick movie.
Oh yeah, was that one about Vietnam? Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Vietnam, right?
okay.
Man,
So I think most of the American public had a pretty bad view of Vietnam. You don't really see anybody singing the praises of the Vietnam War in any shape or form afterwards.
I think I was seeing I think I saw this Thaddeus Russell podcast with a former soldier, and he had gone to what's that famous American military school called? You guys know what I'm
West
talking
Point.
about? Yeah, West Point. Yeah. He had gone to West Point, and he said that even most of the colonels and teachers at West Point were against the Vietnam War.
Yeah, it was as you can see, it was bullshit. I haven't seen anything positive about it, and we lost it. So it's like, what was the point? Just a bunch of lives lost for absolutely no point whatsoever. We're trying to stop some communists. Like, come on.
Yeah. From communists half the world away who are no threat to America whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like, it's funny because in the French scene, where they're talking to the French plantation people, he exactly describes, like, yeah, the Russians, the Chinese, and these guys, they all hate each other. Like, they're all communists, but they want to do communism their own way.
Yeah, I know, right? It's their ideology. Like half of it makes sense, and then like the second half is like that's like a contradiction of the first half of your ideology.
And that's pretty much true. I don't think like Russia and China really get along at all. They just kind of stay separate and stay in their own spheres of influence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And Russia really isn't that communistic anymore. They're it's like they still have state-run things, but they're not like all into the communism. It's not like it's like a move from, it's like Putinism, I guess. I don't know what you would call it.
yeah. It's some sort of dictatorship, but it's not like a communistic dictatorship, right?
No, it doesn't really seem like that. It's because they don't really do the whole socialism thing there anymore.
No, but they still like. I mean, you can't.
It's an oligarchy now.
There. Yeah, you can't. You know what I mean? There's still an suppressed society. There's not.
Oh yeah, of course.
Free speech like United States, right? I think. Yeah, I don't know. So in a way, isn't that kind of like a dictatorship though? When you have one guy that's kind of and like.
It's definitely a dictatorship.
Yeah,
I haven't been paying attention to Russian politics, but everybody that goes up and runs against him, haven't they been murdered or gone missing?
So, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, their journalists get killed, So it's definitely a dictatorship. It's just not as socialist as it used to be.
No, I agree with that too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. The horror.
Yeah, that's a great line that
I-
they took from Heart of Darkness. How his dying words are the horror, the horror.
Oh, one of the things I thought was interesting about the end is that Kurtz knew that he was there to kill him,
Mm-hmm.
and then he released him, knowing that Willard was going to kill him anyway, because he was preparing Willard to talk about his life to, I guess, what was it, his son or something, or daughter? Son?
Yeah, I think his son. Yeah.
To try to tell the truth of what happened. So
Mm.
it's kind of implied that Kurtz knew that Willard was going to end up killing him anyway.
Yeah, and then he basically lets him kill him, right? And I think that's interesting when he's telling him about his life philosophy, that he's saying, you have the right to kill me, but you don't have the right to judge me.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
It's, you see like the culmination of him going through that character change from how he was in the beginning, right, on the boat. Now he's gone through a whole bunch of shit, and yeah,
For sure.
He turns into short, skinny Rambo at the end.
Yeah, basically. And he basically takes over Colonel Kurtz's role too, and like becomes the new cult leader.
Yeah. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep. That's one part that's totally.
But he does end up leaving though, and he takes a crazy surfer dude with him too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Which is like, how did he survive after everybody else dying, right?
The surfer dude?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it was kind of like he became a member of the cult, I think.
Yeah, he immediately became a member of the cult.
But he didn't get killed along the way at all, or didn't. Yeah.
Well, he kind of caused some of it to happen because he was playing around with that purple smoke. He got everybody shot up.
Yeah.
I was like, if I were the one driving the boat, I'd be pissed off.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Like they didn't even care.
Yeah. He's like, I did some acid. I'm gonna play with some purple smoke.
The purple haze, man.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne was trigger happy.
Oh, I totally
wonder
forgot.
why Lawrence Fishburne got like a proper burial and like the captain was just like dunked in the water.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. That's a good point.
I think it's because the captain tried to kill Willard.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he did it while he was dying too, because he blamed him for his death. And I mean, it's almost partially his fault.
Well, that's his mission. It's not like he wasn't yeah, it's his fault, but it's also his job.
Yeah.
Like they were on mission.
Yeah.
Great character name too, Mr. Clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was his name, right? Mr. Clean.
Clean.
Yeah.
Because he was
in the Cajun. The tiger. There's a tiger in the woods.
Yeah, that part was funny. Like, I'm gonna go look for some mangoes, and then get attacked by a tiger, and then Lawrence Fishburne's character goes on the 60 caliber and is like spraying bullets into the jungle. How many are there? It was a fucking tiger, man.
I think that's when that character though mentally cracked because he seemed pretty stable before then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all became pretty unstable, except the Mr. Clean. But even in the end, he became a murderous bastard, I guess.
Yep, for sure. So, what were What were your, I told you my favorite part was that whole section with Robert Duvall. What were your guys' favorite parts of the movie?
I think it's the same as yours. I think
Yeah,
that is the highlight of the movie.
yeah. I was gonna say the same thing. Um, yeah, that and just the acting for me. Um, the characters, it's Sheen and Brando's characters were. Yeah, I just it was it's a gory and dark movie, but at the same time, I don't know. For me, it kept me going and kept me interested, and yeah, the cinematography and it was just good overall. It did have some dry parts where you're kind of like twiddling your thumbs a bit, but for the most part, yeah, it was. See, it's hard for me to say it was ahead of its time because I watched it later after it was released, obviously, because I didn't see it when it came out. But um, yeah, it was just I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be I don't know so dark. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I mean, there are other
Yeah,
really dark war
that's so
movies, but
atypical of what you would find.
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. Like even in like Saving Private Ryan, for example, there are still some redeeming qualities set on the military and the members of the military, and they're not like quite as insane. Like Tom Hanks's character clearly has PTSD in that movie too,
Yeah,
but he's not as insane as many of the characters in Apocalypse Now.
yeah, but like that movie was for me that was a way more violent film than Tom Hanks.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And I never, when I first, again, I didn't, you know, I don't know. You see Tom Hanks in a film, a war movie, and I didn't think it was going to go be like that. A lot like Apocalypse Now.
You didn't think
Uh,
Saving Private Ryan was more violent?
no, not that I'm arguing was more violent. I think they were both violent. I wasn't expecting that much violence for a Tom Hanks film. I guess you know what I mean.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If that
Oh,
makes sense.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan was a more violent film, I think. Like it was less of a philosophical critique on war, even though it kind of was a philosophical critique on war in some ways.
Yeah, yeah.
So what
Or
movie?
the war or army movies, I think, are critique on war. Are they not? I don't think there's not a lot of pro
Well,
war.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan is kind of in a way, and maybe like Wind Talkers is kind of in a way
Hmm.
because the like
Full
the
Metal Jacket.
yeah, Full Metal Jacket is too. Oh yeah, especially Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Full Metal Jacket, but I think for me, I just I don't know. It's a little bit off topic, but I feel a majority of war movies they base themselves on a hero character, right? So this guy has won the war, he's done this great battle, yada yada yada, but is never seen through like the military as an amazing thing.
Hmm.
But that's I don't know, pretty obvious, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like it's
What
kind of
about
that
Good
way.
Morning Vietnam?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's different. That's definitely different. It's definitely follows a different format. But
Yeah, and I think that's more like looking at like the entertainment part of how they entertained the troops back then. And I have to go back, honestly. It's been like 20 years since I've seen that movie too.
this has been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket and Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah, it's been a while. Although they're very good films. We should I know the list is getting long for
Yeah,
these.
I know. I want to talk about all of those movies at some point too.
Yeah, yeah. What's next, by the way? Grandma's Boy? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
We should talk about Grandma's Boy next, and then Dusty got kicked out, but he's back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about Grandma's Boy after that, and then I don't know. I had a kind of a few ideas for what to talk about after that, but we can talk about that. Like I was thinking about. Well, now I'm thinking actually we after that we could talk about John Wick, or we could talk about that Apocalypse Now documentary, or I've actually been thinking that I want to talk about Memento too, that Christopher Nolan film, because it's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films.
Gotcha. I've never seen that, but I'll go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
Pierce.
it's a really great one. It's yeah, like I said, it's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films.
Hmm.
Have you seen it, Dusty?
When I first watched it, I didn't. Yeah, I saw it in theaters when it came out. And when I first watched it, I didn't get it at all. It made zero sense to me when I first watched it.
Oh, really?
And you'll see what I mean, Chris, if you watch it. Well, yeah, because of how the timeline works in that movie, I didn't get it
Yeah,
the
it's
first time I
like
watched it.
backwards, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know the movie. I've never seen it before.
Yeah,
So.
it's weird.
Yeah. No, I've heard it's weird.
It's
Oh,
good. It's definitely
yeah.
good.
Cool. Yeah, there's so many good movies out there to we could talk about. I don't know. Are you a David Lynch fan at all? We could go down that rabbit hole if you wanted to.
Yeah, we could. I actually, I don't, I'm not sure if I've even actually seen.
Didn't you
any
want
of
to
it.
do the first Dune?
Yeah, we were going
You
to talk
wanted to
about
do
that
Dune,
book,
didn't
right?
you?
Yeah, we were going to talk about that
Well,
book
Dune the
with
movie or Dune the book?
You and Parker and I were going to talk about the book, so we could talk about the movie too. Yeah.
I've never seen that one either. Is
Okay.
that
That's a David
It's
Lynch
David
film.
Lynch.
yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking more like, I don't know, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks, later stuff. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've talked about Twin Peaks before. You guys have seen that, and I still haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say for the first season, the first two seasons are pretty good. I haven't seen the last season.
yeah, I'll add Dune to the list. There was another one actually. You know, I forget the guy's name, the Korean guy that we talked about earlier with Snowpiercer and
Bong Joon-ho.
yeah, he had another film on Netflix that apparently is really good about an elephant or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm good for whatever.
Cool. Well, yeah. Either way, like we were saying, we'll talk about Grandma's Boy next. That'll be cool for the first comedy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one good thing about lockdown is I can cram in some movies.
Yeah, for sure. I actually have been, like, more recently have been watching more movies because I've been watching like movies that I want to watch, and then movies that I usually watch like traditionally regularly for Christmas, and then I've been watching other movies for my homework for our chats. So yeah.
You watch have you heard of The Phenomenon?
No.
Oh, watch that. It's a documentary, but basically what it does is it takes every single UFO sighting that's ever been documented, and it goes through every single case.
Oh wow!
How long does it take?
It's really compressed and packed, and it's still, I want to say, an hour and a half, 2 hour documentary, but yeah, it goes through all like the Commander Favor stuff and UFOs, and it goes through the earlier stuff with Roswell and all the weather balloons and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it was interesting.
Okay, I haven't seen that like Bob Lazar UFO documentary that relatively recently came out. Have you guys
watched
that one?
Half of it, and then I bailed.
Yeah, just a cinema. No, it seems.
No, it's too slow. The pacing is horrible.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't seem something that's legit. Like as soon as you watch it, you're like, okay, this doesn't. I don't know. Something wasn't right about it. It wasn't well done. I agree with Dusty.
The pacing is horrible.
Yeah, I didn't make it all the way through either.
Okay.
Like I was expecting like a pretty like fast-paced like documentary, but there's like these really drawn out scenes of monologue for no reason. I was like, dude, like what the fuck?
Rogan hyped the shit out of it and was saying,
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I watched his like 2 or 3 episodes he did with people involved with that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to try to see that new Brian Fogel documentary, but apparently, like it's so dangerous that nobody wanted to pick it up. Apparently.
What's it about?
It's about Jamal Khashoggi,
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
I
the
don't
guy
really
that was dismembered.
I don't really know anything about him.
No, he was the
Dude,
journalist
go
that was
listen.
assassinated. That was a fucked up story.
Yeah, go listen to the latest Rogan with Fogel, and it'll make you want to watch the documentary. It's such
Okay.
a crazy fucking story that it's just gonna piss you off,
Yeah.
Okay.
like big time.
Okay.
It's like, and it's crazy. The Saudis are, the ones that did
They're
it.
barbaric as fuck.
Yeah, and it's like, how did these guys not get? Well, they didn't get held accountable for it at all, right? I just feel like this was like dusted off, and it's like obviously political, but
Well,
yeah,
the
interesting.
craziest thing about it is it's like super authoritarian, like
Mhm.
worse than Russia.
Yeah,
So if you talk shit about your government, you're gonna get beheaded, and they do like 800 beheadings a year or something like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and basically MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, um, shook down the royal family and stole their wealth and became like a supreme dictator.
yeah.
And he had, like Russia, he has a troll farm,
Oh, okay.
and
I
yeah,
didn't
this troll. Yeah, this troll farm is for Twitter, and it builds up like his regime, and they attack dissenters.
know.
So what happened was Jamal Khashoggi defected, left the country because he criticized MBS. He said he liked them, but he didn't like some of the changes that were happening. Because he did admit, yeah, things are getting more progressive, but it's also becoming extremely authoritarian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he got in big trouble and left the country. And he was coordinating with another defector. Because the crazy thing about Saudi Arabia, that anybody that has any type of academic talent, the government sends them abroad to be educated with a full ride.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
yeah, because they're rich. So the crazy thing is too is that one family holds about 90% of the wealth in the country. So
Oh, okay.
everybody else is poor as fuck. Um, and yeah, he basically talks about how this was a consulate, and Turkish consulate had all the rooms bugged, and they gave him some footage or some audio that hadn't been given to anybody else. So apparently, like in this documentary, there's some crazy shit in there that we haven't seen yet. And he describes like what they did, like they drawn and quartered him,
Jesus.
put him in, like they burnt most of them, but they left his hands because they needed to use them to make fingerprints.
Holy fuck. Wow.
And they had a body double who left with the beard and clothes, and it's crazy, man. It's so messed up.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Definitely want to check out both that podcast and that documentary.
yeah, because one of the things that's crazy about Fogel is his last documentary basically got Russia banned from the Olympics.
Really?
Um,
Oh, is that the
Oh yeah, that's
what's
right.
that-
He did the
what's that
steroid thing.
called? What's that called?
Icarus. He did Icarus.
Icarus. Yeah, that's a great
That's another fucked up
documentary.
story too, because
We
he
should talk about that documentary at some point, man. That's a fucking great documentary.
Icarus, yeah, you can.
Yeah, so he's riding high on Icarus, and he kind of explains that Icarus was basically the thing that saved him from bankruptcy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because before then, he was like a Broadway guy doing like these little shows and stuff, and he's thinking, you know what, I can't go back to that now. Like, I have to do something that's more impactful. So he went after the Jamal Khashoggi story and went deep into that. So I'm guessing, like, because he apparently he can't go to Russia because he'd probably get killed.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, he talked about that a little bit on the podcast, and he's saying he probably now has a target on his back from Saudi Arabia as well. So he seems to just be continuing to put targets on his back from these dangerous regimes.
Loves
So
controversy.
I hope he doesn't get killed doing this stuff.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
Same with the guy that leaked all that stuff, the actual Russian doctor. I think he was also, or he's been.
In the podcast, he explains that he actually just got granted asylum, so
Oh, okay.
he has protection from the U.S. government now.
Gotcha.
Well, that guy that was talking about how it, like, exactly how the state-sponsored Russian doping program was happening during the Olympics. That doctor.
Yeah, he he is in asylum now, but his best friend who was working with in these projects was murdered.
Oh wow.
So he's basically knows that he needs protection for life because they don't forget. They'll kill people like 15 years later. So
Right.
he needs to stay under protection. So basically means he'll never be able to see his family again unless they decide to defect as well. But the problem with that is they believe if they seek to meet with them in the U.S. that they'll probably get some type of tail on them and actually find out where he lives. So it sucks, man. He has to live in isolation forever, basically.
Yeah. Shit. Kind of like
Yeah.
Assange in a way. And Snowden.
Yeah, he probably, I don't know, I guess maybe the U.S. would assassinate him. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'd try to make it look like an accident or something. Like I believe he'd probably be. I don't know. Is it worth killing Assange? Not really. He already left everything on the table. He's not really a dangerous person anymore.
Everyone would think it's suspicious if he ended up dead too.
Yeah, they would. That's for sure. We'd be no better than Russia and North Korea. Because North Korea also assassinates their people.
Yep.
So. But yeah, check it out. It's the newest Rogan. I highly recommend it. Only
Cool.
problem is this isn't available on streaming, the new documentary, and it's like full price. So if you want to watch it, you have to pay like $20 because it's in premiere mode right now.
Oh wow.
So
maybe I'll wait and see if it's easier to access later.
Yeah. I think he said it's more important for people to actually see it. Like he doesn't really care much about the money. He just wants this to have like an impact on U.S. policy in regards to us dealing with Saudi Arabia because these people are fucking, they are terrible. At least the government is.
Good for him, man. And the U.S. the U.S. has been in bed with Saudi Arabia in terms of foreign policy for like literally decades now.
Yeah, it's not even the U.S. he explains in the podcast. He's also talks about business interests. So one instance he gave was there was a show, that show, The Patriot Act, by that Indian dude.
Hassan Minhaj.
Yeah, so he had a episode about Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia pressured Netflix to remove that episode.
Holy shit, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, so his big deal is that all of these media companies, because they want to cater to money more than actual ethics, they're willing to forego these types of projects because Saudi Arabia would damage their business relations there. This is what he estimates why this time around no streaming service picked up his documentary.
Oh yeah. So where can you watch it then?
You can buy it. So you'd either have to rent it or you have to buy it, but you can't stream it because none of the streaming services allowed it on there
Oh wow.
for streaming. Yeah, because that's what he was upset about. Because he said, yeah, 700 million watched Icarus, and it created like a real impact, and he wanted this film to do the same.
Wow, I didn't realize that many people saw Icarus. Wow.
Yeah, he said it was like number one on documentaries on Netflix for quite a while.
Wow.
But yeah, I recommend you check it out. It's Rogan's latest. As I was listening to all of Rogan's latest to see if he talked about the Capitol, and it's like, no, it's not really. He didn't really say much about the Capitol.
Wow, I'm surprised that he hasn't commented on it at all, or like very minimally by the sounds of it.
Yeah, because the people I think who came on were okay. Who's come on in the last few days? It was Brian Fogel, Phil Demers, and some wrestler dude. And I was also looking through JRE clips to see if they talked about it. Didn't see it there, so I'm like, okay, I guess you're not gonna comment on it. Well, not a whole lot. He like comments just very minimally about it, but he doesn't discuss it.
Like just, man, that was fucked up or something like that.
Yeah, it's like he makes passing remarks about it, but they don't discuss it on the show.
It's like the Spotify contract.
Yeah, that makes you think about that.
I don't think that would stop him. Like, I'm pretty sure Spotify would like him to talk shit about Trump.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, probably. That's a good point.
But yeah, it's worth checking out. I would recommend it to you guys.
Cool.
Cool. Sorry, I missed that. What were we recommending again?
It's the latest Rogan episode with Brian Fogel.
About that documentary about Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the name of the documentary is called Dissident.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, that's what he said it was called.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
and he said you can get it on Amazon Prime, but you got to rent or buy it. It's not included with any streaming service memberships.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully, our special site will get a hold of it. Who knows?
Yeah. It's not on there yet either?
I haven't looked.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't looked yet, but...
What's it called? Dissident?
Yeah, Dissident.
I'm checking my sources.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Let's see here.
The Dissident documentary. It's called The Dissident.
Oh,
and right now, let's see, how much is it? Damn. It's $24.99 to buy. So I don't even see the option to rent here. Let me see if there's more options. There is a rental option. So the buy option is $25 and the rent option is like $20. So you might as well buy it.
I can get it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean,
totally legally.
Totally legally. I see it here on Apple Prime Video.
Yeah, it's on Apple. It's on like a bunch of different platforms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
It only has 19 reviews on it so far on Amazon. And somebody gave it a 1-star review. I wonder if that was like a Saudi person.
Yeah.
Like one of the Saudi trolls.
Yeah.
One of the Saudi trolls decided to give it a 1-star. They didn't even write a review. It's just a 1-star on it. But everyone who wrote a review gave it 5 stars.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They say it's horrifying, must watch, important and compelling. Don't let this film be silenced. Must watch. For anyone who's passionate about free speech and journalism. Fan of Icarus had to rent this latest film. I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. Like, the guy did an awesome job with... Oh, they did write a review. Someone said, don't waste your money, not very well made. It's a true story and should be told, but wait for it to be free. So he's just pissed off because you have to pay for it.
That's silly.
Yeah, he's simply pissed because he had to pay for it.
And
Hey,
why
what are
did you pay for it?
I don't know.
Hey, what
But
are your
that's the
thoughts
only.
on? Do you know who Shelby Steele is?
Yeah, I saw him interviewed about that documentary. I forget which one it was on Glenn Lowry's show. It was about like hate crime hoaxes or something like that.
No, it was well, it's What Killed Michael Brown. I actually
Right.
I watched it I want to say a week and a half ago. Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Yeah, it was good. I don't know. I just it just goes through the whole story of how he was killed and how it was portrayed in the media. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the best documentary. I wouldn't say it's the worst documentary. I just kind of curious if you guys had seen it and
No, I heard about it from Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter, but I haven't seen it.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it. It's about Michael Brown. Which one was Michael Brown? Is he the Ferguson?
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes through like that whole like shooting and yeah. I don't want to give away too much and yeah.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah, maybe I'll check it out.
Added to list of documentaries, but
Okay. When did it come
I'm a
out?
documentary nut. So if there's a documentary out there, like I'm already on the Dissident. I'm getting it
Sweet.
right now. But if there's any documentary you ever want to talk about, I'm down.
Sweet. Oh, I'm totally open to suggestions of like some great documentaries too, because I
You know what
love.
was really good documentary, and this is gonna sound fucking crazy, but the Bee Gees documentary was fucking really good.
Yeah.
The Bee Gees.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get a hate for that, but yeah, it was actually really good because it goes through all the brothers. They all had their all kind of struggles. Most of them have passed away now. One of the brothers died fairly young, and yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting, but yeah, I'm a music nut, so I find like anything with music documentary, I'm game for. No matter any genre, I like hip hop. The Beastie Boys documentary was really good. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that reminds me too. Did you guys want to do that chat we were gonna do with the three of us in Jenkins about who the best rock frontman is a week from today?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna have an odd pick for that, but I already know what I got for that.
Yeah, I got
I'm
a
not
few,
gonna say nothing.
but they're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
No,
I
mine
got-
are gonna be quite unexpected. I don't think anybody's gonna. I'd be like, "What? Why'd you pick him?"
Mine's pretty expected. The Jenkins one is kind of expected, but maybe a little unexpected. Yeah, that'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So what would you guys give this documentary, or not this documentary, Apocalypse Now, as a rating? It's definitely one of those where I would give 5 stars to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's must see TV or movie or whatever you want to say. I would give it definitely the 5-star category. That's for sure. I
Yeah.
can't think of anything. The only thing I would, I guess, denigrate it with would be like sometimes the pacing is a little slow in the Redux version.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
Chris was
what I
saying
said.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's about it.
Yeah, I'm the same. 5 stars. Like I said earlier, there's some moments where you are left there kind of twiddling your thumbs and looking around the room. But other than that, and that's more pacing. But yeah, well acted. The script is good. It's based on a book, is it not?
Well,
Yeah.
I was saying it's basically like loosely based on Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. It's kind of like that concept applied to the Vietnam War. Like they even have some of the same character names as characters in Heart of Darkness. Like Kurtz, for example, he basically plays the same kind of role in Heart of Darkness.
Gotcha.
Yeah, except in Heart of Darkness, the guy's half dead when we first meet him.
Yeah, he's dying from a disease.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never read
But
her.
this Kurtz was still a badass killing people, so.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
could
you
cut off Cajun dude's head.
Dusty Parker and I did a book chat on Heart of Darkness recently, and if you haven't read it, Chris, I highly recommend it. Dusty doesn't like it as much as me, but I love it, like especially mainly because the prose in it is so fucking beautiful, and it basically goes through the same types of themes as Apocalypse Now, but it's more specifically about colonialism because it was written like I think it was written like slightly either during or slightly after that period of time.
Gotcha.
It was
Okay.
like the late 1800s.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a
So you're
great.
gonna see some archaic language in there.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
by and by. You're gonna hear that quite a bit.
Yeah,
And you said Heart of Darkness, that was called?
yeah. That's why that documentary about Apocalypse Now has Heart of Darkness in the title.
Oh, okay.
You want to know something funny?
What?
Andrew? So Shelby Steele in 2007 wrote a book called A Bound Man, Why We're Excited About Obama and Why He Can't Win.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's one of those black conservative types, kind of like a Larry Elder or whatever. A Larry Elder light, I would say. But yeah, I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he's in lockstep or if he has some kind of some outlier opinions that aren't necessarily in lockstep with conservatism. Because that's what I'm more interested in. I don't like people who just check down the line.
Yeah.
I like people who can kind of check off like boxes in different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people like Glenn Lowry and Thomas Sowell are kind of better that way, especially Glenn Lowry, because a lot of his political opinions are some of them are kind of predictable, some of them are pretty unpredictable.
Yeah, because I know Thomas Sowell's like not necessarily conservative. He's definitely a libertarian.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
sure. He definitely loves capitalism. I know that.
Yeah, he really does.
He's a
based off of his book. Well, his book is Basic Economics. It's just like, yeah, communism sucks. Capitalism is.
Yeah, basically. I didn't like that book anywhere near as much as Black Rednecks, White Liberals.
Yeah, he's like, well, I got some of his arguments, but it didn't seem like he delves deep into the whys of the socialist mindset. Like, well, he just says, "Oh, why rent control doesn't work." Like,
yeah,
okay.
That was an interesting part of the book. I remember that part. I've heard different arguments on it. I thought his argument for that was interesting. I'm really not sure what to think about the conclusion.
Is that discrimination and disparities or whatever that you're talking about?
No, it's Basic Economics.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've only read Black Rednecks, White Liberals. That's the only book I've read of his. So
I've also read I think it's actually kind of like I think it's an excerpt from his book called Intellectuals in Society. I haven't read that one, but there's another one it's a shorter one. At least I listened to it at one point. I don't know if it's still there, but I listened to the audiobook on YouTube, and it's called Intellectuals and Race. And I thought that one was really interesting too. It kind of reminded me of Black Rednecks, White Liberals a little bit.
That's worth looking into. I think that was one he wrote after.
Yeah, I think so.
That one, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
I know he writes a shitload of books, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting up there too.
I wonder when Coleman Hughes is going to write a book.
Yeah, I think I heard that he's
not going to be making. I don't think he's going to be writing any more books.
Thomas Sowell?
Is he?
I
Yeah, he's old as fuck now.
yeah, he is.
I think he's in at least his 70s.
70s or 80s. I know he's up there.
Well, the last time I seen him like publicly in an interview was on Dave Rubin,
Yeah, me
and he
too.
looked old as fuck in that interview.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Thomas Sowell's 90 years old.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, wow.
Yep.
Like he's like almost as decrepit as Chomsky is. You know?
Yeah. Did you see Chomsky when
But he's a little less because he doesn't crack.
yeah. Did you see Chomsky like not that long ago? I think it probably started at some point during the pandemic. He just let his hair and beard grow all long and ragged, so he looks like kind of like Gandalf or something like that.
Yeah, he looks like a Santa Claus on his deathbed or something.
Yeah.
or a wizard or something like that. Last time I saw Chomsky, he was talking to like the Trapos guy and what's that girl's name? They have a podcast.
Oh, did you listen to that debate?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
Oh,
They
is
kind
that
of
what?
like attack
Did you
him
think it was arrogant?
not really.
It was so bad. Like their arguments, I
bad.
thought were stupid.
Yeah. It
Whose
was
arguments?
bad. Was that sorry?
Whose arguments?
Shit. What's that guy's name? Virgil Texas. Is that his name? That's
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a real name, but yeah, that's the name of the guy.
It's Virgil Texas and Brianna Joy.
Oh, Breonna Joy Taylor, the former Bernie campaign advisor.
That's right. Yeah. Or
Okay.
Yes.
is she?
I think so.
Yes.
I just anyway, I listened to that that podcast or debate. Yeah, it was cringy.
Their debate was dumb. It's so stupid. They're like,
Wasn't
"Oh,
it-
you shouldn't vote for Biden."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder how cringy their argument would be now that what's happened.
Because Chomsky had the position that you should vote for Biden, right?
Yeah, but he did it in the name of like environmentalism. So his argument was we need to get on top of curbing carbon emissions and now. And their argument was, well, if you get Biden, we're not going to be progressive enough.
Yeah.
So you got to get Trump because he's going to make people get angry and more progressive.
What?
That was basically their argument.
Yeah, it's pretty cringy. Yeah, they're heavily socialist.
Like,
podcasters though.
yeah,
At least for
Chapo Trap House is like super left wing.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't heard it before,
And
but
they were-
I
Yeah,
heard
they
about that.
didn't.
I dig into them every
Yeah,
once
they
in a
weren't.
while.
Oh yeah, we don't want incrementalism. You know,
Yeah.
we can't handle that. So why are you going to vote just in the opposite direction? It just makes zero sense to me. It's like vote in the opposite direction.
They were advocating
Yeah,
for
that makes total
because-
sense. Uh-huh.
Were they advocating for voting for Trump because they
Well,
don't
they're
want
advocating for not voting for Biden,
Oh, okay.
which
Well, I
is
understand-
essentially allowing Trump to win.
Their guy is Bernie, right? But Bernie's been fucked over by the DNC
Yeah.
so many times that they just kind of are. I don't know. It's very. They call each other comrades sometimes. It's kind of funny.
Seriously? Do they do a joke with it or seriously?
No, they're serious. They're serious.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But again, it's,
it was a super cringy debate.
yeah, it was super cringy, but
Is it like how I occasionally watch I occasionally watch Sam Cedar's videos and I never share them because sometimes I at first agree with the premise and then they always get super fucking cringy. Always.
yeah.
Well, it wasn't like because Sam Cedar always tries to like insult people. It wasn't
Yeah.
like that. It was just like the mental gymnastics involved for them to defend their position started to become really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I mean,
Chomsky's position was pretty clear, cut and dry, and theirs was like, well, what about this and that, and let's do a backflip here and kind of twist it here. It's like, Jesus, it's so stupid. Like the
hmm.
contingency plan that they're hoping for is like, rolling the dice and probably like, oh, maybe 2% has a 2% chance of working. When Chomsky's like, we need to fucking work on this shit now. Let's just get Biden here and force him from the progressive side, from already, just force him into progressive policies and work on it that way instead of, having Trump incite like ridiculous political bullshit. Like we don't have 4 more years to fuck around. That's basically what Chomsky was saying.
That's interesting too, because we've talked before about how if I were an American and I actually had the opportunity to vote in the federal election, I would not have voted for Biden. And I don't agree with Chomsky's arguments for voting for Biden, but it sounds like their arguments for not voting for him were fucking stupid.
Yeah, they weren't very good. Um, I I was looking to see if because they were like saying, "Oh, we won the debate," and they're trying to act like they did. I think the only reason they did act like that is because this debate was behind a paywall. I didn't pay for it. Somebody uploaded it somewhere and I watched it.
Okay.
But I think they were tooting their own horn a bit.
Yeah,
They were
that
saying
tends
that they won this debate, and I was like, "You guys are fucking dumb."
to Yeah, that tends to happen with people, unfortunately, a lot after debates. People are like, this person totally clobbered this other person. But then if you actually watch the debate, in my experience anyway, it usually ends up being the case that both sides made kind of good points. Maybe one side had much more good points than the other side at the most. Usually when I watch debates, it doesn't end up, in my opinion at least, being the case that one person just totally destroys the other person. But it sounds like maybe this debate was more so like that.
Yeah,
They
I
got
was.
backlash on Twitter for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a pretty big backlash about it.
Okay.
Like the only reason I found about it is because I think Kyle Kalinske actually talked about it in one of his videos. It's like,
Yeah.
well, of course he agreed. He agreed with the Chapo people because he didn't vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
But he said they both had good points, though.
Okay.
But I bet he's glad that Biden won over Trump. I'm pretty sure most progressives are.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
think there's a progressive. I can't think of a progressive that would
Well,
rather have
I think a majority of the
Trump
left
right now.
is even more happy that they won the 2 Georgia Senate seats, right? I think
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
that and the
Yeah.
presidency altogether is looking good for the left right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
just want my $2,000 check. God damn it!
yeah, man. Yeah.
no shit, eh?
This
You
person.
guys should be
This
getting
person.
multiple.
Sorry.
He should be getting. I was just gonna say you should be getting multiple checks,
Yeah, man.
dollars, just like we
Sure.
were. There's no reason
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, man. Canada does a lot of shit better, man. Especially like healthcare too, and like maternity leave. I just saw a video yesterday.
Oh,
A
I'd
clip.
argue maybe not healthcare is better, but at least there's a baseline healthcare to fall back on, and
Well,
especially
yeah, like universal healthcare, other than like prescriptions and shit like that.
yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
surgeries too. A lot of people opt out here for surgeries and go like in the States, or they did before COVID, right, to get surgeries because the surgeons are obviously a lot more experienced and better and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, again, I mean, yeah, we have, thanks to Tommy Douglas, we have a universal healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at least something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And maternal leave too. I just saw a video yesterday actually, which was a clip from fucking Megan McCain talking, like advocating for maternal leave and saying
Yeah.
it's fucked up that we don't have this in the States. And I was like, holy shit, Megan Kelly is sounding like a fucking progressive, or not Megan Kelly, Megan McCain
Oh, I
is
know you
sounding
mean.
like a fucking progressive right now.
Yeah, that is actually pretty sad. I mean, if you think about it, it's only a couple weeks, I think, in the States that you get on paternity leave. It's like here in Canada, I mean, it's like I took 6 months off for one of my child paid for, and my wife took off the other 6 months, so it's a whole year paid
Mm-hmm.
by your
Holy
employer.
crap.
Yeah, exactly, right. And
Yeah,
there's no reason why are you guys not like a mom to recover after giving birth is not a weekly thing. It's a
yeah,
month, especially like breastfeeding and all that kind of stuff, and losing the weight and just the. I don't have to get into all the kind of stuff that women go through after childbirth, but you know what I
yeah,
mean. It's a long process. Give them fucking 6 months paid on leave. I don't understand that at all. But yet,
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, me neither. It was surprising to hear even her say that.
yeah.
When we were talking about debates earlier, someone commented, DJ Isolated said this: cult of personalities and ideologies make debates futile. That's for sure with some debates, like the presidential debates, if you look at them, for example.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, true. Cult of personalities. Yeah.
Trump is like the fucking truest example of that, of course.
Yeah, religious mindsets is another one that I've been really dealing with a lot lately when people get in those kind of like, and you can't move them at all. And then it's like, I sit on the fence a lot where I'm like, should I debate this person and put an effort forward? Or I know that at the end of the day, it's not going to move or change anything anyway. So should I just let it be and just walk away and be like, okay, agree to disagree. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like how you were talking about before we before we before we started this too, about how you got into this debate on Twitter with a woman who was saying that she is disowning her father and not talking to her because he's a Trump supporter or something like that, and you were saying you shouldn't disown your family member over political disagreements, and then she got super fucking mad and like sent a Twitter army after you or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I just got another notification about it. One of those things that you shouldn't do, but I don't know. It was Descartes' error on my part. I let my emotions take hold of me and I commented because I don't know. Like for me, if I see somebody not talking to a family member over political reasons, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like me and my parents, we don't agree on anything, man. They're very religious and set in their ways, and I love them for that. And they do nothing but good for the community and the rest of the world, and that's awesome. But I would never talk to my father or my mother again just because they voted for Trudeau or something like that, right? Like that would
Yeah,
never cross my mind. And I have good friends that are Trump guys, and I have good friends that are Biden guys, and I don't nobody in my social circle gets eliminated because I disagree with them on any kind of political point. Sorry.
it's a good idea, man.
Yeah.
I just yeah.
One of my one of the things I think about debate, especially if you're doing it like on social media, it's not really for the other person. For me, it's not for the other person because oftentimes I debate the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about the people who are observing the debate, not the person you're debating. That's why I do it, to make sure that if someone says something outlandish and I disagree with it, just laying down some really good points so that anybody who comes across that conversation can see that, okay, there's some good information here. So maybe that perhaps, can change their mind if they're truly on the fence.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a good reason to get sucked into it. Yeah.
yeah. I just want to be asking the right questions at the end of the day. I'm not always right on every political point, but Yeah, I'm hoping I'm asking the right question, and yeah, I'm curious, but man, I'm constantly fighting with people on the left and the right, and yeah, I don't know. It's fine for me. I mean, I like the discussion. I don't know.
Yeah. I always like try to avoid getting into social media debates with people now. I succumb to it every once in a while, but I've been doing a much better job um, lately
Mhm.
of avoiding those for the most part, which is
I,
I
only
definitely prefer that.
I definitely have a set of rules, and it's like it's actually pretty in depth and unique. It's like I'll get into arguments with like politicians or Twitters sorry, podcasters or anybody that has a huge following. Anybody within my Dunbar number or my social circle, no. You talk to me in person, give me a call on the phone. Let's discuss any kind of problem you want to talk about. You want to talk about abortion. You want to talk about rights. You want to talk about the peace wars, whatever. Let's talk in person within my social circle, right? Because I don't think social media is a good forum to discuss any kind of hot topic like that on, right? Unless it's like a podcast forum where you've got like a few hour window and you can have some back and forth. But if it's just in text format, no, sorry. But any kind of like celebrity or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was commenting on Jack Pacebic, or what was that guy's name? No, sorry. It was I don't know, it's two right wingers, and it was Charlie Kirk and somebody else tonight were making a comment, and they were like arguing back and forth, and I was like, yeah, how long have you guys been married for? Because they sound like an old married couple. But I think those guys are fair game, right? They have Charlie Kirk's got like a million followers or something like that, and it was Nick.
Yeah,
It was Nick Fuentes. That was the other guy. They were just arguing back and forth about something stupid because Nick was calling out Charlie because Charlie hasn't come out and said anything after this whole Trump situation at Capitol Hill, and it's like I don't know. Both those guys are silly to me, so they're fair game
What
as
did
far.
what did Nick Fuentes say about the Capitol Hill?
I don't know. All I saw was that he was calling out Charlie on not saying anything because Charlie just put something like Orwell 1984 or something like that, and he was pissed about that.
why?
I I don't know. But anyway, those guys are fair game to me, right? When it comes to like,
Yeah,
not that they would ever respond to a small person like me. I have no following, but like if
yeah.
I see them say something stupid or it gets in my feed somehow, I'm gonna comment on it.
Yeah, I do that
Hmm.
too. Like, it's like how it's like how like I've made videos criticizing Jordan Peterson for not understanding philosophy when he talks about it in public. It's
Mhm.
not like Jordan Peterson's ever going to respond to me, but it's
No.
good to like inform people that he makes some good points, I think, and he does some good, but he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to philosophy.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree with all that, man. I mean, like anybody, I think some people make some good points. Most people make bad points,
Yeah,
and yeah, I don't know, but
yeah. Got a few more comments here. This person, the DJ Isolated said again, good faith debate is exceptionally rare. I would
it
definitely
is.
agree with that.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with somebody that's so ideologically in their bubble that they can't move at all.
Hmm.
You know, you're just going to hear the same kind of talking points, which doesn't really interest me at all. I mean, I'm not gonna like never talk to that type of person again. But I'm interested in the guy that's like looking at kind of all sides and asking the right questions and with good intentions too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I don't know. You got to be going down the right rabbit hole for me in order to get into that kind of.
So you intrigued me about the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm looking at his Twitter, and
Mhm.
apparently he deleted some tweet regarding sending people to that rally.
No, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I follow one of them, and that's how they showed up on my Twitter feed. Maybe it's Charlie, but anyway,
Yeah, they're both pretty fucking silly, like you said.
yeah, all those guys are silly, and on the left too, man. I think AOC is just as silly, but I'll give her a heart and comment on her because I kind of have a crush on her in some weird way.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm weird like that.
Yeah. That's why Hotep Jesus likes her, because she's hot.
She's not some old bag like
Yeah.
Nancy
Yeah.
Pelosi.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
I guess the only good thing about Pelosi is she's got some tigos, but they're probably like saggy as fuck.
Man, there was a whole thread on that on Reddit like a while back where people
Oh,
were
really?
What?
different pictures of different shirts that she was wearing, and it got out of hand. But yeah, I didn't know that was a thing until actually. That's funny that you bring that up. I didn't know that was a thing until a couple weeks ago.
Dude,
'Cause
you
I'm
just
not.
gotta look. It's you could see it. You're like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? Why are her boobs
I
so
wasn't
huge?
paying attention, but yeah, I guess. All right, sure.
Yeah,
I
but they're
don't
like 80-year
know about
they're like 80-year-old tits, so who knows what they look like under there.
that.
For sure.
This is the highlight of the podcast right here. Nancy
Yeah.
So
Pelosi.
when you post this everywhere in your little description, are you gonna put
I
like
do
a
include that.
discussion about Pelosi's tits?
Yes, I'm definitely including that.
Lead with that.
They were even putting it in the
Here
title.
I am with Dusty talking about boobs
Yeah,
at the Capitol.
yeah. Nancy Pelosi's boobs at the Capitol.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I need to follow more people on Twitter to see their crackpot opinions.
yeah. It's
I
all.
know Thaddeus got bombed on recently because
Did he?
yeah, like a lot of people were talking shit to him. I think even Daniele talked shit to him, if I'm
What
not
was it about?
mistaken.
I know he did a pod.
It was about the Capitol.
Oh, okay. What did he say about the Capitol?
He, what did he say? It was like, because you know how Thaddeus kind of speaks super vaguely, and
Sometimes.
yeah, and it's like he's trying to make a point, but we don't quite know what that point is.
I do
But
that.
what I do know is like a lot of the IDW were like not happy about what he said
Okay. I know that.
because I saw like a lot of different comments on it.
Okay. I know that his last podcast that I watched the other day was with a guy who was like they did a whole podcast about basically how lockdowns and masks are bullshit and ineffective.
But Ever Cummings, is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. What did you think of that?
I thought it was like not very convincing arguments, to be
Gotcha.
honest. Yeah. What did you think?
It made me, I'm not gonna lie, it made me enough to go onto his website to kind of see what that guy was about. I never heard of him before, so I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And
Isn't he some CEO or something?
no, he's a podcaster out of Ireland, I found.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There wasn't any, like, I know Thaddeus started off the podcast talking about him walking down the trail and them, talking about the mask. There wasn't any kind of scientific evidence that Ever brought forward, but he did point to his website, and his website lays out a bunch of stuff. So again, I'm just like, I question what's going on here, what's going on here, what's going on here, right? But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's probably worth looking into because I haven't really researched it that much. But he was making these huge generalizations, like 40 years of science say this, and this person says this, and that person just can't get questioned.
Yeah. Well, where is those studies for that? I saw that he was saying that he had 4 decades of mask science, and we have 4 papers done in a 4-week span during a pandemic, and we're all going with those 4 studies that were done.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't see any of those papers. They're there. I didn't read any. There's so many links on his website, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not saying that he's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just don't know.
Hmm.
He's not the thing with these guys that are not medical experts, they're just kind of like smart guys who are acting like medical experts. My my red flag is a lot goes up a lot more. You know what I mean? I'm just like, if you're a doctor and you
Yeah.
come up with some like here I got 10 years at Harvard Medical School and I've done some research and I've published some peer reviewed papers and blah 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 blah. And here's my points here. I'm less skeptical and I'm more not open. I'm the most open guy you'll ever meet. I'm gonna hear you out, right? But I think I take more of that as truth or bullshit regarding of where your background lies in a problem solving guy is like that. I don't know. I just like, okay, sure, but I don't know. All that stuff is like, it's interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, I was even I'm open to considering that topic because it was a Thaddeus Russell podcast, and I'm a big fan of him. But and I agree with the aspect of that. That's like a critique of the authoritarian capture that governments have taken over people. I understand because I'm uncomfortable with that shit too. Even though I don't go like I'm not like an anti-mask or anti-lockdown person. I get that anti-authoritarian aspect of the criticism, even though I don't agree with the like masks and lockdowns are bullshit stuff.
See,
I found the offending Thaddeus Russell tweet.
Okay.
There's so much research. I'll read it to you. This is what he wrote, and this was on the 6th, so this was the day that it happened. So, and I'm guessing he didn't have that much information at this time, but he said, they called them Nazis, traitors, and white trash. They invented a massive hoax to remove the president they voted for. They censored them through their auxiliaries in the media in Silicon Valley. They refused to look at the evidence of electoral fraud. What do you expect?
Wow. He was like for the election fraud claims too?
I guess so. I don't know if he's for it or if he's just saying. But anyway, the amazing atheist responded, they are Nazis, traitors, and white trash. Trump lost, you fucking idiots. And then Thaddeus responded with outstanding argument. And then he wrote, atheist wrote, I followed you because your book was all about how the scumbags and degenerates really built this country. I don't see how you went from these to a Nazi apologist. And as we know, there were some fucking white supremacists there. So
yeah, but I don't think Thaddeus is a pro-Trump guy. I've never.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He said that on his anti-mask podcast. He said, "I'm not a Trump supporter. I think he's a war criminal."
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, although if you're
well, actually, Thaddeus is claiming. Okay, in this thread, he's claiming that there was evidence that they didn't look at.
Election fraud evidence?
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
But they would have had like there was so much court processes that they went through in different states. They had the time to go through that all, and like
yeah,
I don't know.
It's like not that they didn't. I don't think it has anything to do with them not looking at it. I'm just saying they probably looked at it and thought it was bullshit.
And
insufficient.
I think we've had this conversation before. I mean, every election you're going to find little spouts of fraud here and there, but I think like the big smoking gun is like if you had Nancy Pelosi funneling millions of dollars to the DNC to hire hackers to, move 10,000 votes in Biden's way, boom, okay, cool, you got me. I'm on board with this conspiracy theory, but that never happened. That never showed up. So we move on with Biden and let's do it quickly because
like people are talking about evidence of election fraud, but like I haven't come across people who are presenting evidence other than these people signed sworn affidavits saying that this thing or the other thing happened. And
Yeah.
then like all that stuff was struck down by the Supreme Court and the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one thing Thaddeus wrote here. It's like social media big tech is an arm of the Democratic Party. Do you disagree with that?
I think that's hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Like
I would say that they're super left, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that the Democratic Party has any kind of control. I
I don't
actually would say
think
the opposite.
I don't think Facebook is left at all.
More corporatist.
No, Facebook actually makes more money off of conservative content than it does from liberal content.
Really?
But
Yeah.
they've silenced a lot of conservative people and voices. And I mean, if you're not a free speech absolutist, I see that more as a right wing talking point than a left wing. And obviously, they're censoring.
Well, the people they censor are fringe.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not talking about like mainstream, like conservatism. Like it's just Alex Jones types.
But there's
Don't they censor like more? I mean, I know they censor some fringe lefty people too. Like apparently they've canceled or banned some Antifa pages or some shit like that. But I mean, it still does seem like they censor more conservative people than lefty people.
Well, it's not really the content that's shared, and I remember New York Times did a study on this, is that more conservative content gets shared on Facebook than liberal content. So we're talking about. I know the study said like the Daily Wire gets more shares or something than anybody else.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so they're not fucking democratic. They just want the money.
Right.
And people don't remember, but George Soros had a campaign against Facebook, and Facebook had a campaign against George Soros, where they were actually paying conservative advertisers to talk shit about Soros.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're not in any interest of any political party. They're in the interest of making money.
What about Twitter?
I don't know what about Twitter. Like, I think Twitter doesn't care either, because according to Twitter, Donald Trump has been breaking their rules since he's been on Twitter, and they hadn't banned him. So why is that? Is it because he makes them a lot of money? That's what my guess is. I guess once he's no longer president, he doesn't become as relevant.
Like, doesn't it make them appear partisan, since they did things ban Trump and like censor the sharing of that story about Hunter Biden and whatnot?
Yeah, it makes them appear partisan, makes them appear inconsistent with the application of their terms of service. From what I understand is that a lot of times it's just that people within the organization pressure Jack.
Yeah.
As Jack Dorsey doesn't really seem like a super liberal or conservative person.
Yeah.
It's just like the people who work in tech.
But I would say
and I've heard this too. Like I've heard this from other people that I know that work in tech. Like I think one of my friends who works for a game company was telling me, yeah, there's a bunch of employees upset because the CEO is not standing up for Black Lives Matter. I was like, what the fuck does he have to do that for? He's a CEO of a video game company.
Like, right, yeah. You were talking to me about that.
Like, seriously, what the fuck? So, I don't know, man. It's just these, like, keyboard warrior activists in tech think that their bosses have to be keyboard warrior, like, tech people. And they don't give a shit about that. They're just trying to run a fucking business.
Yeah.
But you're right. A lot of people are left wing that work and run Twitter. But I would also make the same argument that a lot of people that run Facebook are also left leaning as well. I don't think you have a whole handful of conservatives that are on the Facebook team.
Yeah, probably not. But
Yeah.
But you're right. The business model is obviously let's get as much retweets and likes from whatever side is the most popular. But I think that the overall workforce underneath both Facebook and Twitter, because they both come from Silicon Valley, ultimately are going to be left leaning individuals, especially on their terms of service team or their censorship team.
Another good example of that too is even though you and I have talked, Dusty, about how Tim Pool has gone like full Trump supporter, he made a few good points on that Rogan podcast he did with Jack Dorsey and that lawyer. A good example he brought up was how misgendering someone can get you banned from Facebook, which is Tim Pool was pointing out they didn't even realize that was a political position.
yeah, it's definitely a political position.
Yeah.
Like, why is misgendering a bannable offense? But if you call a white person black, is that bannable? If you call an Ecuadorian person a Mexican, is that bannable? Like,
Yeah.
when you fuck up someone's identity, why are only certain things bannable and not other things?
Yeah.
So it's definitely not it's not a consistent application.
No, it's not
At all.
You have the Ayatollah still on Twitter and Facebook and Islamic extremists, and there's porn and a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter, but yet they're eliminating conservative voices and shit. But I do think it's funny that all these conservatives are complaining about how many followers they've lost over the past 40 years.
Yeah, there's snowflaking. Yeah.
So how many followers they lost?
Yeah, because they're thinking, well, I don't know. There is a purge going on. Who knows? I don't know.
Or is it like could be a fake account purge? Because there's there are accounts with shitloads of fake Twitter followers. I don't know if that's a purge that's happening with fake Twitter followers
or MAGA guys
what.
too, right? I bet you there's a shitload of
yeah.
We already have there's a list of people that already
they're probably cracking down on QAnon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to crack down on those folks. Or anybody that had anything to do with the Capitol deal.
Yeah.
But that's yet to be seen. They're just going to go off into their little parlor.
Yeah.
And continue to stew over there.
And then like we were saying before this, apparently there's a lawsuit from Parler against Apple because Apple said that they were going to remove Parler from the App Store. But like you were saying too, people can just go to the Parler website. I don't use the Twitter app even, so I mean that I can see how that's a valid point. I just go on the regular web page on my phone because I don't want to get notifications or even have to turn the notifications off or anything like that.
Yeah, and app space on my phone is limited. I don't want to put a bunch of fucking apps on there. I'm constantly having to delete them, and then if you go to the website, you don't have to worry about putting an app on your phone. It's just you go to the website, no problem.
Yeah.
And that's what, a lot of times, most times, I don't like the app version. I don't like the app version of Amazon. I don't like the app version of Facebook. When I go on Facebook, I'd rather pull up the web page on a tablet or a computer than deal with Facebook's buggy app.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the only time I prefer an app is when I'm doing video stuff because app tends to have a smaller overhead.
I guess I do kind of use apps for some stuff. I use YouTube. Yeah, YouTube and dating apps and Instagram and Snapchat and shit like that. But I guess just for Twitter I don't really, but I use the internet for other things too.
Yeah.
A bunch of like there, we got a bunch more comments here actually that I wanted to mention. Um, this one is kind of random. This person says, "What do you think about Elon Musk being the richest guy in the world out of nowhere?" I don't
I
think
think it's fucking crazy. I think it's crazy because I can't see how a car that upper middle class people, the only upper middle class people can afford, that's all he does. He sells that.
and
And
SpaceX too.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
And
but
battery
SpaceX isn't
systems one too.
profitable at the
that's true.
moment.
That's true. And neither is that solar company he has, isn't it?
Yeah, so what happened recently is that Tesla started actually making a profit, and for some reason his stock went up sevenfold,
Oh wow.
which caused him to be the richest person. I don't understand how it works because I don't see Tesla everywhere. I don't like I see Teslas. Um, I see Teslas. I wouldn't say as often as I see like Toyotas or Fords here, but because I live in a more affluent area, I do see them, but it's not everywhere.
I don't
You
think I've ever
go,
actually seen one in
I
person.
see a bunch of them over here. Like the easiest way to spot them is that they have no grills.
Yeah, we got a handful of them here in my Canadian town, and we even have like a stop where you can charge. We have multiple places where you can charge your Tesla if you want to. I was going to make the joke that the reason he's so rich is because he's moving out of California and he doesn't have to no longer pay the crazy taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the richness all comes from his stock ownership.
Yeah, and I
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
patents on a lot of that tech that comes from like batteries and different kind of rocket technology that he's involved with, and um, yeah, I am surprised
yeah.
past Bezos though. I would have thought that with the lockdown and Bezos just cashing in on just people ordering the shit out of everything that would have, you know what I mean?
Well, he surpassed Bezos because remember Bezos got divorced.
Yeah, that's right. I'm surprised his wife is
So
number 3 on the list.
if he never got divorced, he'd still be the richest person. But um, yeah, Tesla's stock just shot up like fucking insane.
Yeah, it is.
And then I'm just looking at Bitcoin right now. I was like, yeah, I'm glad I got some of that stuff.
Yeah, I was a fucking idiot. I sold all my Bitcoin like a month before when I didn't have anything. I had like maybe $100 in Bitcoin, which is like 0.000001 of a Bitcoin. But I sold it all like a couple months before it started going up again because it wasn't moving at all for like 2 years. I feel it was like stagnant.
Well, I sold half of it 2 weeks ago. Um, because I was like, fuck, 30,000. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
And I kept half of it there, and then it went up again. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep this here, see what happens. It's like I already broke even, so if it goes back down, it goes back down. Um, but now I'm starting to do like a weekly deposit or a bi-weekly deposit. As if I had been doing my bi-weekly deposits,
Mhm.
probably have like a bunch of fucking money right now.
Dude,
Yeah.
you should get
Because
a.
well,
I
I
was gonna
started, I think I put in like $100 when it was like at 3,000.
Do you have Milo down there? Do you know what Milo is? Have you heard of that? And this is like
No,
really
what's
off.
that?
It's an app you can get, and basically what it does is it rounds up your purchases to put towards, like, you could have it in a separate checking account. You could put it towards Ethereum or Bitcoin or any kind of purchase. So if you buy a coffee for $1.50, 51, it takes 49 cents and puts it into that account for you automatically.
Oh, okay.
But what is the service charge for them to do that?
It's like $1 a month or something like that. It's really minimal.
Oh, that's
And
not bad.
you don't have to do you can select investments that you want to do too. And yeah, there's a few options. I've been using it for the past year, and if anything, it puts money into a separate account for me, so I can do random things every once in a while, or buy a book, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
there,
gonna put like $20 every couple weeks because right
yeah,
now I just have Coinbase set up to do $20 like
You guys,
bi-weekly.
you guys think Bitcoin value has gone up due to the pandemic?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't know why though. I would see that. Um, yeah, I
It
don't know.
seems like Bitcoin tends to do good when the economy is unstable.
Yeah, or maybe they're
Yeah,
predicting a market of like this. Everybody's talking about this great reset. A global economy is good for Bitcoin, I think. Right? More transactions, I would assume, globally.
Yeah, like the more people buy Bitcoin, it's been shooting up.
Yeah.
Because right now I was looking at the statistics, and right now 75% of the activity is buying on Bitcoin, and 25% is selling. So whenever you get to that like ratio, it just shoots up.
Hmm. Yeah, it
But
is.
I wish I
I
had.
don't know. I don't know why so many people are investing in it though. That is kind of curious to me.
I think somebody switched over to Bitcoin like corporately, and that caused it to jump up a lot.
Gotcha. Plus, I think this kind of thing kind of snowballs, similar to like the toilet paper shortage that we had during COVID. Whereas, like a few people catch on to like, oh my god, Bitcoin is worth so much money. Oh my god, it's worth so much money, and they keep, they buy it now while they're kind of like late to the party. Do you know what I mean? I think you're getting a little bit of that.
Yeah, yeah, because the first surge I was a little late.
Hmm.
I bought at 10,000, and I think it went up to like almost 20.
Yeah, it was close to like 30 at a couple of weeks ago, I believe.
Well, it's almost 40.
It's almost 40 now. Fuck. Okay.
Yes, that's why I said like a couple days ago it was at 41,000. It's dipped to like 38 or 39.
oh, okay.
But within a month it went from 17 to 42.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wow.
So if you had put like $100 when it was at 17, you would have more than doubled it by now.
Yeah, but yeah, fuck. But
Wow.
it didn't. In my defense, it didn't move for like two. It didn't move for years. I feel 2 or 3 years. It didn't move. I feel like I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
just started steadily climbing since the
Hmm.
start of the pandemic.
And one
And then
point it
it
tanked.
shot up this month it shot up from
Yeah,
17 to 41.
yeah.
Wow.
One point it was really low. I remember checking at one point. I was like, Jesus, I've lost a whole shit ton of money
Oh
here.
yeah, I lost a shitload and I panic sold.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do that again. I'm just gonna leave it in there. Fuck.
yeah, yeah.
So this time I'm just trying to say, hey, this thing fluctuates. I I did sell some when it was at 30 recently, but I only sold half of it. But yeah, I'm glad I left that other half in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there were more comments that we got here that I thought that same person who's been the person who commented most of the time, I thought made a few interesting points. So this DJ Isolated made a whole bunch of comments here. I'm optimistic that many people will. Oh yeah, this was when we were talking about debates. I'm optimistic that. Oh wait, no, when we were talking about the shit that happened in the Capitol the other day. I'm optimistic that many people will realize they share common goals and enemies, and there will be a sharp decrease in civil unrest and strife. I hope you're right about that. We were talking about that yesterday, Dusty, about how you think it might get worse, but we're both kind of cautiously optimistic about it.
I hope it gets better too. Back to what we were saying earlier with the social media, the social dilemma, right? With social media around, that's just going to escalate, and with COVID having everybody home is just gonna, you know what I mean? Social media is not good for us as far as discourse regarding
Mm-mm.
obviously COVID political things, and other than saying hi to your and here's my picture of my 4-month-old kid on Instagram, you know, the rest of it is trash, right? So it's hard to say with confidence that a majority of human beings are gonna, you know, put the social media aside and strive for a better day. I hope that's the case. You know what I mean. I don't know. I think we're going deeper, and I'm with you guys. I think we're going deeper into this kind of social media rabbit hole, and the civil war, the culture war that's going on right now, and there is a culture war going on right now. It's we're in the thick of it for a bit at
Mhm.
least.
Yeah, I think it might escalate. Well,
Mhm.
it's going to escalate because I think people right now are pointing to the capital situation, especially on the left, and
Mhm.
they're saying, "See, we told you guys."
Yeah.
Um, I don't think
The
that's going to
only
make it any
yeah,
better.
the only light at the
They're
tunnel,
just
I think.
going to be more extreme in their rhetoric now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slow transition of power, but the only light at the tunnel I see is that there is gonna be new, president coming in soon, which will hopefully cool things down. I don't think Biden is gonna be like the cure, but at least he will kind of it'll be somebody new. You know what I mean? I think that I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. It could not transition smoothly at all. Who knows, right? But
Hmm.
I hope that
Mhm.
once Biden comes in, that because even myself personally, who's followed a lot of shit politically over the last 4 years, I'm done with this chapter in my life. I've watched Trump season 4. We saw the finale at the Capitol. It was kind of like the Lost season finale for me, or like the Game of Thrones season finale. It wasn't really the greatest season finale. Not like I have a side in this anyway, but I'm ready to move on with a different TV show. And if it's the Biden TV show and it's boring, I might not tune in as much, but I think that would be good culturally. And that's like you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
because I think it's not going to be Biden that's going to be the focus.
It's going
It's
to be
going to be
Kamala.
these crazy ass people on the fringes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of good because
But
the
I think
news media
Kamala,
is going to need its new boogeyman's. It's going to need its new
Yeah.
boogeyman.
Yeah.
yeah, I do think Kamala is going to be very important going forward because she's like the tie
She's
vote
a
now.
tiebreaker.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
So she's
more
going to be
eyes on
who
her,
yeah,
more eyes on
she's
her
going to
than
be attacked heavily by
yeah,
the right.
by the right for sure.
Pelosi's going to attack heavily as always. Chuck Schumer's going to get attacked heavily as always.
Yep.
Um, but even then, after this happened, we saw many Republicans do an about face
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
about like we have some Republicans calling for the 25th
Yep.
Amendment. We got some
Hmm.
Republicans calling for impeachment and resignation. So,
Yep.
Yeah. And
we'll have to see.
we were talking about how Mike Pence finally went against Trump, and I even saw an article earlier today about how Colin Powell said he is no longer comfortable identifying himself as a Republican.
Yeah.
That was like fucking
Wow.
Colin Powell, man.
I think the right is going to divide, kind of like the left is kind of divided with progressives and the Bernie types and the Biden types. I think the left is going to be, you're going to be either a right wing kind of what they call a rhino, you're establishment Republican, you've been around for a while. But I think there's going to be another wing that splits off. I don't know if it starts a third party like a Tea Party or not, but there's going to be those guys like Ted Cruz who are going to cash in on those millions of people that think that this was robbed from them, and he's going to be like, Trump this was stolen from Trump, and I'm going to cash in on that kind of like momentum, right? So
I think it's like a lost cause
yeah, it
because
is, but I think it was a lost cause for both the left and the right. I think progressivism in the AOC wing, although that's gotten stronger too, though.
from what I understand, it's 45% of Republicans think that the election was stolen.
Yeah,
So
wow.
but if you tally that all together, then that's only 25% of Americans.
Oh, okay.
So it's only half, like less than half the Republican Party that thought it was stolen.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
even then, that's still pretty nuts because it's going to cause some problems, like some unity problems on the Republican side of the
Yeah.
of the coin.
The only good thing about
And
that is it's the fringes again that have floated that way. Like you don't see. I don't think Ben Shapiro is on board with. And I'm saying Ben Shapiro represents a majority of the right, but he's kind of like that conservative wing where you have him. There's a few others that aren't really necessarily on board with this was stolen from Trump or whatever. They're okay with a Biden transition. I'm not saying Ben Shapiro was okay with the Biden transition, but he wasn't as QAnon as some of the other people on the right. Right.
no, I
So,
remember a video that he came out with that said he was voting for Trump.
yeah, that's right. He did vote for Trump.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So I want to hear what he says now about this shit because he voted for him.
He did vote for him, but he hasn't been on board with. He wants to see the evidence as far as the Electoral College and that. Like he's not on board.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
With this being stolen, and I think there's a lot of conservatives that still follow that kind of, you know what I mean? Conservative lights, like I think like Glenn Lowry would be another example of that, or a Matt.
Oh yeah, I highly doubt Glenn. I haven't seen his opinion on it yet, but I highly doubt he is believing the election fraud claims.
Yeah, but again, I'm just getting back to like the right wing is going to be. It's almost as if these two parties have been split into four kind of quarters. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was weird because I've been looking for it. I was on the Eric Weinstein. No, it's the Brett Weinstein Facebook group, and they're having like an argument about like, election fraud. And some guy was like, "Yeah, they stole the election, and there were many more voters and voter registrations, and blah 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 blah." I was like, "Well, can you provide the evidence for that?" It's like, "Oh, it's super obvious. Like you should know this." I was like, "Well," I told him. Well, I told him, "Okay, you just made a truth claim. So this is how it works. The Earth is 24,000 miles in diameter, and the proof of this is this Wikipedia article. Your claim is that the voter registration, yada yada yada, and your evidence is parentheses crickets." And he's like, "Well, there's no real way that you could figure out the number of registered voters." Like, you just fucking contradicted yourself right now. Like, why are you making these claims and then as if they're fucking true? Like, you're just spreading more misinformation to people by saying this bullshit. That's how it spreads. Like, people making claims and other people eating up those claims without, any investigation or proof that those things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You needed Sidney Powell and the Kraken, and sorry.
Yeah.
She didn't come through with you, so move on, man. She was
Release the Kraken.
Yeah. The Kraken wasn't there. Sorry. Let's move on.
Yeah. I guess the Kraken needs some Viagra or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is nuts, man.
I know.
It's nuts how people can believe this stuff.
The DJ Isolated made a funny comment about AOC. I don't know who Anomaly is. Anomaly says he's going to get buff and take out C on it. He corrects himself after this and says date. No, he meant date, not dare. So Anomaly says he's going to get buff and take AOC out on a date and chill her out.
Who said that? Who's Anomaly?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
I'd go on a date with her.
I would too. I'd be like,
yeah,
I totally agree. Yeah, we got to have socialism, and yeah.
It might not be a long-term relationship, but
yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I would love to sit down and talk to her. I would love to pick her brain.
Yeah, me too, man.
I would say the same thing about whatever Charlie Kirk or something like that. I'd love to have a conversation with these people. So I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
I think I don't know. Like, I think she comes from a good place, but I just don't like her being the Trump on the left isn't a good idea.
Yeah. And I agree with some of like Jimmy Dore's recent criticisms of her too, about how she wouldn't try to force the vote on Medicare for all, even though that's something that she ran on, and then she was like scolding people for being mean to her about it.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Dore's going after all the Justice Democrats for not forcing the vote. And I think Kyle wanted them to force the vote.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Because he said they all want to find out who was really for this and who wasn't. So they can primary the people that aren't for it.
Yeah.
Because apparently Medicare for all is extremely popular. So they're concerned, why aren't they doing it if the majority of Americans are for that?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
We'll see.
I think Republicans or conservatives, they should have been on board with that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, some of them are. So the majority of Americans, I think it's like 70% of Americans are on board with it. So
I don't think a lot of Republicans are on board with the socialized medicine, though. Right?
You'd be surprised.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not.
I think I saw Jimmy Dore talking about a Fox News poll that said that the majority, even a slight majority of Fox News viewers were for Medicare for all, apparently.
Yeah, so if you take that plus,
that's amazing. Why wasn't that pushed through within the last 4 years, though? Do you know?
Yeah, good question. Yeah,
because who pays for these politicians' campaigns?
Yeah,
true.
Yeah,
true.
Special interests.
Yep.
That's how it always runs.
Yep, you're
That's
right.
for sure. That's for sure. DJ Isolated made some other interesting comments about what we were talking about here. He said, medical bureaucrats and spokesmen creep me out as much as smart guys posing as medical experts. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Medical bureaucrats? Like Fauci or something?
I think so. I think maybe he means politicians too. But yeah, I mean, Fauci is he definitely lied and then denied that he had lied about some stuff, like saying that people shouldn't wear masks, as we know, for example. And
well, I don't know. Like, I usually just I usually give them a pass because when they were saying this shit, the virus was like new as fuck. So, because I remember right when it started, there were claims like, oh yeah, the virus can stay in the air for like a week and shit. There was like all these wild studies about how. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the information wasn't really clear on how it was transmitted. So I remember right in the beginning, like everybody was spraying every fucking thing with bleach, and they were spraying their Amazon packages with Lysol, and when they went to groceries, you put everything on the table and you scrub it down with alcohol. Like, we found out all that was mostly bullshit. Like, you didn't have to do any of that. So this is why I give them a pass, because right in the beginning there's a lot of like information that really wasn't accurate, and it's not because they weren't trying, it's just that the information wasn't there.
I don't give them a pass, but I mean, I understand that he, like Fauci, for example, with lying about the masks, he was trying to allow them to be mostly for frontline workers. But I kind of think that he should have still been honest about that. But at the same time, I think some people, like especially like a few people we've already mentioned, like Jimmy Dore, for example, he kind of has this habit of like mind reading more and assuming that people have worse intentions than they probably actually do, which you probably could say about like Fauci and maybe a few other people.
Yeah, I know that a lot of times Dore does suffer from fundamental attribution errors. It's just what he does. But with Fauci, it's like, okay, one of the main things too was why he switched is because asymptomatic spread wasn't known to be an issue at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is the case, then normal people really wouldn't need to wear masks. It'd only need to be people who are in contact with sick people. So since asymptomatic spread really wasn't a thing back then, that's what he said. That's one of the main reasons he said mask wearing wasn't really recommended at that point, because at that point they didn't believe that there was asymptomatic spread. It was just people who had symptoms, and they were telling people, if you have symptoms, stay home. So they didn't believe that you could spread the disease by if you were not having symptoms. So after they figured that shit out, that's was like, yep, masks. Because I think it's right now it's at 60% of spread is from asymptomatic spread.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. My baseline for a majority of health experts around the world has been, I don't think anybody's handled this perfectly. There's been some upsides, some downsides, but I do agree there should be a little bit more accountability as far as Fauci goes, especially being the leading expert of the top, country on the planet. And you guys have the best medical. I don't know. I just a little bit of, yeah, I lied about this, but this is why I did it. I'm not saying that he loses any credibility for me. I think that I view him, Kurtz, Bhattacharya, this guy, Scott Atlas, all those guys. I wouldn't say I trust any of them 100%. I'm skeptical.
Oh no, Scott Atlas is a piece of crap.
Okay, so wait. Why is that? I don't know. I don't know why that is, though.
Because he is not in the field of virology.
But he's Stanford Medical. I don't buy that just because Trump hired him, we throw him out.
Okay, so the thing about Fauci is he actually has training in infectious diseases. Scott Atlas is a overglorified radiologist.
I thought he's an epidemiologist, though, isn't he not?
He's
From Stanford?
not. He's not an epidemiologist.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he isn't. If you take a look, this is it's radiology for Scott Atlas.
Okay.
And that's what everyone was criticizing him about. Was that he really didn't have the proper credentials to make decisions about things related to virology and
So
he was a professor of neuroradiology. So he is basically someone who does brain scans. He was not a virologist, and he's not an epidemiologist.
gotcha. My thing with him, though, is the Great Barrington Declaration, obviously. I just wonder if, and I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'll say this again for the billionth time. I'm just questioning why. My ultimate thing with COVID, and this is what I've had a problem with lately, is I've got doctors over here that say this, and I've got doctors over here that say this, and I can bring up a majority of examples of this. I just want to know who's right here and what the best approach is. I just care about the truth. Ultimately, I don't pick sides.
Yeah, I totally get it.
But he's on the same side as Jay Bhattacharya and the 13,000 other medical people that have signed the Great Barrington Declaration. So you have all these medical experts that say this here, but you have all these medical experts that are against that, like Fauci, on this side here. I don't care what side you are on. I want what is the truth out of all that, right? And they see two different sides, and that's the problem for me.
Well, I'm not sure what those sides are. Like, I know the Great Barrington Declaration is that's like the libertarian. That's basically what libertarians want. It's their herd immunity deal or whatever.
Yeah, it's a protected approach. So it's pretty much social distancing and wearing masks. But if you have any comorbidities or if you're over the age of 70, stay at home. It's pretty much similar to what Florida and what's the other one? South Dakota is doing or has been doing for the past couple months, which is not locked down completely like we are, close all businesses completely, and
they haven't been doing it very well because I know, Florida in particular, they had like some of the highest rates. I know it's going up everywhere right now, so it's like moot. But I think their ICUs are beyond capacity at the moment.
yeah,
So
again,
they're not prepared to handle that.
but don't you think that okay, if they were at capacity and they were screaming emergency, emergency, why aren't we sending the medical ship down there to assist them? And where are those headlines, though? Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
it's because everybody's fucked up right now. Like I
Yeah.
think the positivity rate in my state is like 16% now.
hmm No, I know we're getting walloped here. My question is just like, what is the best approach as to going forward? And I'm not really an anti-mask guy, but I'm leaning more as the day goes on, as I don't think lockdowns are the best approach because I think you're, and I
No,
don't
I
have the,
don't think it's either. I don't think lockdowns, like making people stay at home. I think that only works for people who can actually work at home.
yeah,
Of course, it's going to fuck up anybody else. But the problem, I guess, is just people not being socially distant. Like, I was pissed off. I went to Target on New Year's Eve
mhm.
just to pick up a couple things, and I had to get in line, and the fucking assholes behind me wouldn't stay 6 feet away from me.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot in public, I've noticed.
Yeah,
Like I was I was like the only person staying 6 feet or more away from the person in front of me. But I wasn't going to be a Karen and say, "Hey, back the fuck up." Like, are you guys not fucking paying attention? Like like people are not adhering to it.
hmm
That's the problem.
yeah, but I don't think
In
people are. That's what, and I'm not making the argument that we should just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well,
I
here
saw,
they should have had an employee at Target enforcing the shit. So, going up and down the line and say, "Hey, you need to separate your shit," because they'll look at the employee as like an authority figure in the store. I don't want to have to go and fucking tell the person behind me to step back
Yeah.
and seem rude. They should have people there like monitoring the people in their store, making sure people are staying socially distant.
yeah, but they're not
So
going to follow that. I mean, I can remember my days of working retail. I didn't give a fuck if people came in and put shirts under their coat and walked out. You know what I mean? I got paid for it.
yeah,
So
so that's yeah, because it's the problem with that is that there's no enforcement mechanism that penalizes people from not following it unless you threaten shut down to the establishment.
yeah,
Because I know in the beginning that's what they had been doing. It's like they would go to the people would get inspected and they say that they're not following and they would be forced to shut down.
and how much of this do you want really? Like, I was watching videos today here in Canada. We have police driving around Quebec and Montreal with their lights on and cherries, making sure that people aren't going past out curfew. I think that's an overreach as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
agree.
don't have curfew here, so I
No,
don't know.
yeah, I
I
know.
wouldn't agree to that.
No, I know, and
Me
we do.
neither.
And that's why I'm now a day sounding like a, you know, whatever they call those guys, a COVIDiot or whatever, right? Because I just don't want it to get to that point where I have like cops driving down my street with cherries on saying I can't leave my house at 10 o'clock at night, which doesn't make any sense to me either. If you want people to shop when there's less people around, why wouldn't you keep your Walmart open until 2 o'clock in the morning and have senior citizens or people with comorbidities go at those times when there's less traffic flow? I don't know. There's
Mhm.
just like, there's so much garbage
And
out there.
the virus doesn't go away at any specific time.
No, yeah, for sure. I know. None of it makes any sense, man. I was watching football today, and Tennessee's got people in the stands, and then I'm watching Pittsburgh, and they've got nobody in the stands. Like,
Well, it depends, man, because some people are extremely fucking irresponsible.
oh yeah,
Um, like, okay, just me for an example, we haven't gone to or hosted any public, I'm not saying public, but family social gatherings
Mhm.
in my home. So we're super adamant about not doing that shit.
Yeah.
Um, and like, I'm not going to call people out, but my wife has people on their Facebook that act like the fucking thing, COVID doesn't exist. And
Right.
somebody she knows went to New York, caught it, went back home. And when you're in contact with somebody that has it, your whole family is supposed to quarantine, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because of asymptomatic spread. So she sees pictures of the rest of her family just kind of out and about. Well, they have this other family member that's has COVID, and it's like people are not fucking following the shit.
No, they're not.
Like they
Mm-hmm.
could have COVID and not know it, and they're just like happily spreading it around everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, majority of people have reached their breaking point, right? And I'm sympathetic to that, man. We've been locked in our house for a year now, and government and healthcare, the checks and balances on both of those institutions have definitely, the cracks are showing. The mask has dropped, right? The people's faith in government and medical community is at slim, even within my own bar or social. I pull any of my friends or family, they
Mm.
don't have any faith in government. Whereas if I were to ask them a year ago, yeah, they loved Trudeau, right? So I don't
Well, if
know.
they don't have any faith in government, they should come here, and
Yeah,
they might change their tune.
Yeah, man.
They might change their tune a little bit.
yeah.
So
It's the same here,
we
man.
don't
I
get
mean,
any money. We don't get barely fucking any money at all.
yeah,
We don't have free health care. So if you don't have a job and you get sick, you're probably going to be bankrupt.
yeah.
It's ridiculous here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It's not much better here, dude. I mean, our premier is a complete idiot and has been tripping over this, like every premier or every governor or every prime minister or whatever. A majority of them have failed at this miserably, unless you're, I don't know, a New
Well,
Zealander.
I don't know. I'm just lucky. I know not everybody's as lucky as me, where they have had zero economic effects from this. Like,
Yeah.
not only did I have zero economic effect, I gotten 2 raises since the pandemic happened.
Right on.
Um, so, and I
Hey, well,
understand, man. It's fucking hard, and
yeah,
I think the biggest problem is that the government isn't helping people.
yeah,
It's like you got like these people getting rich as fuck, and
it's like,
people are barely scraping by. They have to go to food banks to get food.
yeah,
You know, um,
it's
like
really
some of the
fucked up.
mandates are wearing out. Like all the mandates for like, oh, you can't shut someone's power off, or you can't evict them. A lot of those are coming up soon.
Yep.
So they're gonna have to do something really drastic in
Yep.
order to get the society and look at, and then democracy is also unraveling. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems to me it's just like a giant recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I
It's
know. I don't
almost like we need to go to war with
have.
somebody in order to repair the country, and that's fucking a cynical view as you can have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You need a 9/11 to happen again, but a attack on yeah, no, I hear you. It's crazy to say that, but I know what you mean. That kind of unity in order to come together again. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but
And
yeah.
ISIS is probably saying this, or Islamic extremists are like, oh no, just let them implode. We don't need to attack them right
Oh,
now.
no, you know what they're saying? You know what they're saying? They're saying, "Hey, all we have to do is get a group of us together, and we could just walk right into the Capitol building, no problem, right?"
Yeah.
No, they're
Which
just saying we don't need to do anything because we don't want to unite the American people.
Yeah, that's true. They're already
Like,
divided as
imagine that.
yeah,
It's like we We don't need them to become united again. Let them screw themselves over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the upside is there's been no school shootings.
Yeah.
Or well, none that we've known reported, right? That's not a hot topic to report on right now. There's probably has been school shootings, but it's not has been in the news.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
There's no school. There's no
yeah,
physical school.
that's true. I was thinking more like the stress of everything of being locked down and not having school. But yeah, if there's no school, yeah, you're right. There's gonna be no school shootings. But yeah,
Guess that's the only good thing, I guess. Yeah, I'll have kids getting shot
well,
up at school.
and it can only go up from here. I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, if you hit rock bottom, I don't know. I guess the Capitol deal is kind of a rock bottom, but
Yeah,
yeah, you could always make your way back up, I suppose.
yeah.
Or you make
It's like
Elon and Bezos give us some of those billionaire dollars that
yeah,
they're
no
not
shit.
using. It's like, fuck, man. Well, I'm not gonna complain because Bezos gave me a bonus this Christmas.
Right.
See?
Yeah, I gave everybody a bonus.
Right.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they gave me like I also got a random $100 gift card for no reason from my boss. I was like, oh, awesome.
Oh, cool.
But I just used it to buy Christmas presents.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I spent way too much money this Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I spent like probably over $600.
Oh,
That's
wow.
way too much. Yeah, that was a lot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what happened to JD?
Oh, he said something. Oh, he just said BRB.
Okay.
That same person from before made some other comments too about stuff we were talking about before. In terms of the DC Capitol riots, the gathering was large, and it is to be expected extremists from all creeds would show up. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, it's probably similar to like the Black Lives Matter riots and stuff like that, and then people from all sorts of different groups were there. But the violent ones definitely were like Trump supporters, and there were definitely like some QAnon people and shit like that there.
Well, I was listening to a Weinstein, Brett's podcast, and he actually was talking to a guy who's a left-wing guy, and he actually went with a camera just to record everything. And
Oh,
he
wow.
actually did breach the Capitol as a journalist. He wasn't like part of the riot or anything. And he was talking to like different supporters to find out like why they were there, what their ideology was. And there was a lot of variation. It wasn't at all cohesive. So the only real cohesive element was that they were there for Trump. But he mentioned like, yeah, there were white supremacists there. There were just like your regular Trump supporters there, and a bunch of different other types like Proud Boys and everything else. But he said that they really didn't have like a cohesive plan or anything.
No.
But
Yeah.
I didn't finish watching it, but I was like, oh, this is really interesting. He actually went in there and started talking to these people and tried to find out why they were there, who they're like, what their ideology was, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't
I
think there
should
was.
check that out.
I don't think there was
What'd
a
you
Yeah,
say,
group.
Chris?
it's one of Brett's most recent ones. Um, it's like an Asian guy who
Oh,
apparently
okay.
all he does is he covers protests, and he went to this one and he actually went inside the Capitol during the breach.
Oh, okay.
But he said he did see like some Antifa people there, but they were there just to record what they were doing, not like actually participating. And he said that on the local Antifa websites, they said that, oh, don't go to this thing. So
Okay.
I don't know why they told people not to go. Maybe they thought it may have been too dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But they told people not to go.
Okay.
The local Antifa chapters, apparently.
That's interesting. So there's less merit to those conspiracy theory claims we were talking about yesterday about how, bro, this was actually a false flag attack by Antifa.
Yeah, because I know Tim Pool tried to allude to it. It's like, oh, they found an Antifa person like inside the Capitol. Like, yeah. And what was he doing? He's just there recording stuff from what I was able to find out.
That's a dumb
But
narrative.
they try to blame it. Like, they just pick out the couple people there that might be left wing, and they said, oh, these are the people that are breaking down the doors and yada, yada, yada. It's like, no, pretty much everyone pictured breaking shit was like a hardcore right wing person.
Yeah, I don't see a majority of
And
Antifa.
they were even trying to say that the Buffalo guy was Antifa. He's like hardcore QAnon.
Yeah.
The Burning Man guy?
Yeah, the Buffalo dude, and he was like really pissed off because people were calling him an Antifa infiltrator because he's super hardcore QAnon.
I just don't see Antifa people being gung ho to go sign up for a Trump rally in disguise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They probably
it just
want to be
doesn't
like
make sense.
declaring their support of Trump.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, and I don't think Antifa wants to protect Congress either.
no.
So
Yeah,
they
for
probably
sure.
don't have. Yeah, they're probably much against Congress as these crazed Trump people are. Like, they're anarchists. Like, what do they care if Trump people are going to march on the Capitol?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let me see. Oh yeah, when we were talking about the social media censorship, DJ Isolated made a few interesting comments about that too. Money is in the tension and division. Division is useful in creating special markets to control and grift on. I would say that's certainly true. And then also, all these companies of many closet conservatives, the social media companies, things could escalate to the point they suffer brain drain and those people move on to other companies. I'm not sure what to think about that.
Yeah, it depends on how much they pay them.
And then
yeah.
so there's definitely a purge, but it's hard to discern between the actual 2A warriors and the grifters. I think that means maybe the jig is up. Yeah, that's a good point too. Like, some of them are grifters, some of them are not. It's hard to say who is which sometimes. Like Hotep Jesus is like openly still grifting for Trump and was like for the riots.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Really? I felt I
Yeah.
thought I saw him tweet out something differently the other day.
No? Oh, really? I'm pretty sure I saw him. He and Uncle Hotep were saying that on their last podcast they did the other day.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was somebody else. I follow a few of those.
It's hard, man, because I know what was the statistic, like misinformation spreads 6 times faster than facts.
Yeah, something like that.
So there's an actual financial incentive for social media to spread it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if an algorithm is taking care of how these social media companies curate information, we gotta assume that these social media companies would have to fight with their own algorithms in order for them to not spread misinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think they put out a lot of McDonald's and everybody's eating it up.
Well said. Yeah. Social media junk food. Yeah.
There's so much information out there, right? You're just looking at rows and rows and rows of not healthy food. It's all just fucking, Harvey's and Burger King. And
that's a perfect analogy too, because a lot of people know how bad it is for you too, just like McDonald's.
No, I don't think a lot of people know. Well, when it comes to information, I don't think they know. When it comes to actual food, yeah, I think they know that McDonald's and shit like that is bad for you. But
Well, it's because there's a concerted like campaigns to let the public know that it's called junk food for a reason. And I
Yeah.
don't think that there's the same thing when it comes to social media addictions and things like that. There's nothing to really address that.
no,
Yeah,
I
I guess that's a
the
good point.
algorithm is built in for you to come back and be more upset and want to come back and challenge your stranger friend that you have no idea about, and these fucking notifications that keep coming up are
Yeah.
making me pick up even my phone to see what the hell is going on, right?
Yeah.
So it's all
Like,
it's all designed to manipulate you. Yeah, it's just up to you, the user, to decide to fucking eat healthy and not put down your phone. And I don't know.
hmm it's so effective too. Like we've talked about this before, of course, but you
Mhm.
know, it's like, God damn it, that my phone is burning a hole in my pocket. I have to comment on what Flat Earther 69 just said. It was so fucking stupid.
Yeah. My baseline is always the shit that I learned in mixed mental arts, though, to be honest, man. All those books that I read that taught me about how humans interact and biases and different kind of height with, righteous mind and moral foundations theory, all that stuff helps me still to this day to decipher how I can navigate through this world and pick out the best reality that suits me, which is, I hope, is correct, right? All I can do is, whoa, that was weird. Whoa.
What?
All my lights went out here.
Oh, shit. Got
Anyway,
shut down by the government.
I have it set for a timer, I think, for everything to cut off. That's why, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just getting that. I was just saying that mixed mental arts actually helped a lot with helping to understand this shit. Like, I'm glad I went through that whole kind of educational system, and I'd be lost today without it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, man. I totally agree. I do that all the time too.
Yeah, it definitely helped me see the light. We're all in the cult.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And then people would get mad. It's like, oh, you guys are a cult. It's like, yeah, we're a cult.
Yep. We're a good cult. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, wait, yeah, that's all of that person's comments. Thank you, DJ Isolated, for making so many comments. Those are very good. Always appreciate that. Okay. All right. Well, now that we've talked about like everything under the sun, you guys.
Where was Apocalypse Now? That was like 4 days ago.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else that you want to say or talk about there?
No. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. Next movie chat gonna be super intellectual movie on Grandma's Boy, of course. Make some very important and profound points in that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And check out my video and my podcast with Reid and Nathan that I did the other day about the DC Capitol riots, and also the podcast that Dusty and I did on his channel yesterday, Woke Centrist, about this. And I'll just say all the stuff that I'd like to say at the end of my videos here, and then you guys can give your plugs or any last words there before we end it. So thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks a lot to those people who commented, DJ Isolated and SAI, and anyone else who comments as well. Thanks to those of you who subscribe to the channel. Please do if you haven't done so already, and click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. And also thanks especially to those of you who contribute to me on Patreon, which I always greatly appreciate. And I'll put the link for my Patreon page at Mindgasms in the description for this video, as I always do. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all, and groove is in the heart. And also, remember that we're all people, and don't let this political division make you go crazy and start doing fucking stupid violent shit and disowning family members. And also, most importantly, watch Apocalypse Now, because it's a fucking awesome anti-war movie. And of course, even more importantly, the most important thing we discussed of all is Nancy Pelosi's tits. So remember. All right.
Sadly enough, there's probably a category on Pornhub for that now.
I bet there is.
Oh man, that'd be horrible.
Yeah.
But
Be
yeah, I guess we'll just do it. Oh man.
All right. You guys anything else to say or any plugs or anything before we end it there?
Yeah, well, you can probably find me canceled now after that comment on Twitter. Yeah, I'm back on social media. I took a 6 months hiatus, but I'm back now. You can find my Twitter. I'm on Styles, Styieiles on Twitter and Facebook. Christopher James, both of them actually. If you type in Christopher James, I think on Twitter too, you can find hundreds of accounts, but I'm in there somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Just look for the picture.
Yeah, just look for the picture. It's consistent across the board.
Guy, it's he's very adjacent to Tim Pool garb. So just look for some Tim Pool garb and Christopher James, and you got it.
I started it first though. I've been wearing my toque for like a decade now, so
okay.
Tim Pool's copying me.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know when he went bald, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know when I went bald, and yeah.
There's a picture floating around the internet of Temple without his hat.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
I've seen that.
He should just shave his fucking head. That's what I think.
He's got that like cue ball. Well, no, he's got that like look with hair around the edge of his head.
Yeah.
And it's like illusion. He's creating illusion with his beanie. So you just see like the hair that he has, and right under the beanie is basically a skull cap of nothingness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sadly enough, that's how I'm known here locally, man. I play in a band here, and people know me as the toque guy. I've been wearing this thing for. I have like a set of them, like 10 of them that I, wash on a different basis, and I don't know. You think that should be your new? Should that be your new internet nickname? Like how Dusty's is woke centrist. It's nice and Canadian too, because Americans don't say toque. Yeah. Well, I'm actually both. I'm both American and Canadian. So
I know you mentioned that before. Yeah,
the dual toque centrist.
Dual toque centrist.
Yeah, my only words of wisdom before departing are: if you want to be a refined gentleman while cursing, please include the G. So you want to call someone, or you want to say like, motherfucking problem here, or have a fucking great day. So always include that G, and you'll get a lot of respect for that.
Don't say motherfucker.
No, always put the G in there.
Okay.
Because that's how Germans curse.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a stupid anecdote. Basically, I was watching, the reason why I now add the G is watching the Schindler's List. And there's a part where like the Nazi dude is inside of a convertible, and he's riding around, and he's like, "It's fucking freezing." I was like, okay, I'm gonna put the G at the end of my curses now. It just sounds so much more refined.
It does sound stronger too.
Yeah, that's another one you can add to the list too of Schindler's List of movies.
Yeah, good idea, man.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Yeah, we will eventually get to all of these that we mentioned at some point.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, got plenty to talk about. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Thanks again, everyone else, for watching. Check out Dusty's YouTube channel. Check out our other movie chats and our other upcoming chats and all our other videos. And yeah, adios. Until next time, everyone.